Good afternoon, everybody. It's the Cryptid Huntress. Welcome in to our live show today. I apologize. I'm a couple minutes late because I was catching up with my good friend, Mr. Barry Littleton. I have not seen Barry in a couple of weeks. And we had a lot to catch up about. And we're going to have to do that after the show because we were getting carried away there. But you guys, we have quite the banger of a show for y'all today. We're going to be looking into this. Now, I didn't say this myself. This is coming from a Harvard astrophysicist saying there is a hostile alien spacecraft headed towards Earth. Okay, now, is this a red alert? Should we be worried about this? Or is this part of the fake alien invasion we've been hearing about? Or what is this? What is it? I don't know. We're going to be looking into this today. And yes, it's not just clickbait, y'all. This is for real. We're going to go through some articles today, actually. It is all over the mainstream news, and I thought that it would be important for us to discuss this today, and I brought my resident expert when it comes to things in outer space, Barry Littleton, on the show today. And actually, Barry gave me a fantastic couple of targets, some remote viewing targets. Hopefully, Barry can come on Thursday, and we'll go over this target, but it has to do with Mars. And what's on Mars. I was blown away when he told me what the target was last night. The two targets, after I gave him all my data, I think it's going to knock your socks off, y'all. So y'all get ready and get ready for these interstellar spacecraft or whatever these things are. I believe this is the third one. I think it's the largest. They say it's the size of Manhattan in New York. Okay. All right. Well, if you guys want to follow along with all my shows and check out my social media links and all that, go over to my website. That's thecryptidhuntress.com. You can find my calendar of events there. And speaking of UFOs, I will be at the World UFO Conference this weekend. That is going to be up in, oops, I have deleted my flyer by accident. That is up in Mount Airy, Georgia at the RM Rose. Yes, a distillery. I said on Saturday night, where they make moonshine and stuff. So y'all come see me up there this Saturday, this coming Saturday, all day. I will be there at the World UFO Conference. And I can't wait to see you guys there. Also, of course, you can find my links to my Patreon and my shop. It's called War Woman Goods over there on my website. And so, yeah, here it is right here. I'm sorry I don't have the flyer. But Saturday, August 2nd, it's not at Piedmont University. It's at a distillery. Okay. Well, let's just get to the show, y'all, because we have so much to discuss today. And I'm super excited to see all of my friends and family here in the chat today. Thank y'all so much for being here. All my moderators. I really do appreciate each and every one of y'all. And thank you so much for all your support, y'all. It means the world to me. Okay, so scientists have recently spotted a mysterious object flying through our solar system. A prominent Harvard astrophysicist has claimed this mystery object in our solar system could be an alien spacecraft the size of Manhattan, which may attack Earth by November. Okay. A draft scientific paper, which was published on Tuesday, has proposed that the object 3I/Atlas might be alien technology that could make a surprise attack on our planet. I want to know where they came up with the attack stuff. Okay. That's why we got Barry here today. Okay, the object now officially designated 3I Atlas, previously known as A11. Maybe it's 3-1. It looks like 3I to me. It was previously known as A11P13Z, is believed to have come from a distant star system and is traveling all over 60 kilometers, which actually they said it was like, well, we'll just go there, 60 kilometers per second. 3I Atlas was first spotted on July 1st by the Asteroid Terrestrial-impact Last Alert System, Atlas, survey telescope at Río Hurtado in Chile. Estimates suggest it could be between 10 and 20 kilometers wide, though it may be smaller if composed mostly of reflective ice. Is this the beginning of the long-anticipated fake alien invasion, or could this potentially be real extraterrestrial threat to humanity? And of course, I have Barry Littleton here. Barry can be found on his YouTube channel. It's called Barry Littleton, and also on his Patreon is called Barry Littleton as well. You guys, please tell me welcome to the show, my good buddy, Mr. Barry Littleton. Hey, Barry.
Oh, hey, what's up, Jessica? Hey, thanks for having me back. It's been a minute. You got this wonderful audience, so we'll say what's up to all them. Somebody in there, I couldn't catch the name, it went by so fast, but it was Joe Chronicles. You mentioned that maybe we could do one on Thursday, and they said Sheamus, which is the wrestler, banger after banger. And it reminded me of this cat that came out and told him, he said, man, you say banger after banger, but I'm looking at you, looks like it's been burger after burger.
Oh man, I was thinking about you, Barry, because I was watching. Gosh, I've seen so many memes and posts about wrestlers and stuff. Of course, we had Hulk Hogan passed away last week. That was a big loss for the wrestling community. I know, and we all grew up on Hulk. I know you did too.
No, I remember him definitely. He kind of put it on the map, mostly from Rocky III, of course. I think that was about his big debut, wasn't it? Thunder Lips.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah.
I will say this though, I was a little disappointed how much his death overshadowed the death of Theo Huxtable, Jamal Malcolm Warner. That was a tragedy. He got caught in a rip current. That's a horrible way to die.
Oh, that's terrible.
And it seemed like my cousin was saying, "Damn, man, I'm so hearing about Hulk Hogan. Can a brother die in peace?"
Oh. Yeah, there's been a string of deaths lately of famous people and stuff. It's it's really tragic.
Yeah, it is. And like as everyone says, it comes in threes. Because who's the other one? Osborne, was it?
Ozzy. Yes.
Yeah.
Ozzy, who by the way I came across this. It was wild because I was researching werewolves. Imagine that. And somebody had posted, I think it was on a Reddit or something. I was reading some articles. Somebody had posted an album cover or something of Ozzy as a werewolf. And I was like, man. And I tried to save the picture and I couldn't save it on my computer for some reason. But anyways, Ozzy was a werewolf at some point. So, but very tragic, very sad. But I don't know. I feel like I try not to watch the news too much because there's so much negativity and, it's always like deaths and violence and just, objects hurtling towards Earth for alien invasions right now. Which for me, I think this what we're talking about today, Barry, is pretty interesting.
Just delving right into that, okay? But you and I, it's always fun hanging with you. So let's just dive right in. For me, and I try not to be somewhat skeptical because then that guy has put Avi Loeb is who's saying all that, and he's put a lot of stuff in space. Not as much as Musk, but he's put a lot of stuff up there, right? So so some of what he says will always gain merit. But he's the same individual a few years ago that made the big hype about Oumuamua, which is also One Eye 2017 U1. But that's Oumuamua, and it came in a very odd trajectory into our solar system. And so he was saying automatically, oh, it's artificial intelligence, it's this and that, and it got a big uproar going about it. And what happened? That thing entered our solar system and then left nothing.
Yeah.
And now it's this thing he's making a big deal about. Okay. And it always comes, Jessica, with this fear sells. And since we live in what is questionably between a school to prison planet, it sells quick. The whole fear thing sells. And that's what people hear and what goes on the media. And, it's a shame because so much is happening right now that the contact part of the quote unquote contactee scenario, the conscious part of it is really trying to be dismissed right now. And that's really where all these experiences, a lot of them take part at what's happening to our society. We'll talk about that more on probably Thursday, how I think actually from the contactee perspective, we're being enslaved. I've done a lot of thinking about some of we've done so many targets now. Heck, even I started getting confused on some of them. I forgot, you know what I mean? But some of them, just as far as how will we be enslaved truly by not just AI, but a civilization that was based in that. The term AI is getting old. I'm sorry, it just is. We used to call them robots and cyborgs and other things like that. But now androids, but now everything's the word AI. But when dealing with how a civilization like that would actually enslave people before they become another civilization, before it became type 1, and I'm trying to take that and correlate it to me, because one of the episodes we did that always resonates is the TRAPPIST-1. Another one, like the one we'll do Thursday, like a little bit more what I bargained for. That was the slavery factor there. How does that begin? But how you saw high rises that were nice, like from the future here on Earth.
Yes. Yeah, I thought that I was remote viewing Earth in the future. Because I remember I wrote mid-rise apartments. I was like mid-rise, like that's so specific, like I was seeing highways and cars and shopping centers. I mean, they had like TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and all that stuff, and Target, and whatever. I mean, that's what it looked like to me. I mean, I'm not saying specifically that was what that it was, but it was shopping centers, like vehicles, like we have here, but just more futuristic. So it looked like Midtown Atlanta is what I would compare it to, So weird stuff, but with slavery.
Yeah. I mean, that you just threw that in immediately after that description. Yeah. Hey, what's with all the slavery, man? I don't know. I've been looking at that. So anyway,
it was wild. That was a great target, though. And man, I don't know. Maybe we should start. I should start kind of like re-airing those occasionally to to refresh everybody and like see what all we've been leading up to a lot of this stuff. Even with this, what is it called? The AI? Is it? Hold on. 3I? Is that what it is? I thought it was 31 Atlas, but it's 3I Atlas. This is not the first time one of these interstellar objects has come into our solar system, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. For me, I always take an interest in this, okay? Because I have some past life memories of like this place being advanced and things being sent out. And, there's a book here, I'm so sorry. I tried hard to find this woman's book. There's Barbara Martinique. She's most well known for the book Bringers of the Dawn. And when I first read that book, it was in 87, 88. And she's one of the first people I'd heard mention the reptilians in the fashion that was mentioned in the New Age type movement. But she wrote some other books, okay? I tried to find it. I'm sorry, I couldn't. Bringers of the Dawn, I got that one when I was younger. Family of Light is another one, little New Agey. But the other one is called Earth, the Living Laboratory, I believe. And I'm sorry, I couldn't find that one. I should have sent you a picture. But, in that, she says some things that I had read other places, which is that when this was actually like a type 1, type 2 civilization, we sent out like what science fiction would call a Bracewell Probe, which is to go establish extraterrestrial contact and also to take like a logging of everything that it encounters, especially solar system wise. And that, it's similar because in Star Trek, they had the first Star Trek original movie, and they had Voyager, which was really Voyager 1, and it came back and it was amassed all this knowledge. But, that wasn't the first time Star Trek dealt with that concept. In the original series, there was one called Nomad, and Nomad had went out and hit a probe that was similar to Voyager, but it went out and hit an agricultural probe from another advanced civilization, and it got reprogrammed to start sterilizing everything. Like this thing was sterilizing the soil, so it's sterilizing humanity.
Oh, no.
Anyway, but that's not the first time to jump. Anyway, on seriousness though, is that this living library though is a type of a Bracewell probe. And just for the fun of information, you've got the Bracewell probe that does extraterrestrial contact when a civilization becomes type 1. But then you've got others in science fiction like the von Newman probe. And what that is that actually goes out and is self-replicating and starts self-replicating the civilization to expand colonization. That's a von Neumann probe. And then there's in science fiction the Berserker probe. And the Berserker probe is also self-replicating, but it's sent out to destroy other civilizations that are either a threat or for colonization of others. So, but this will be a Bracewell probe, so we'll keep it a little more less melodramatic.
Not so daunting.
Yeah. But that was supposed to come back in several thousand years. And that book, Barb and Arsenic, talks about that. Wow. So when something unusual comes into our solar system, I've always paid attention. Okay. Yeah. And like for me, the first that really caught my attention was Hale-Bopp. And Hale-Bopp is something you could just see. I think we talked on some of these other shows, but you could just see that. You didn't need a telescope or nothing. And then when you start listening to not Robert Ghostwolf, not Robert Morning Sky too, but Robert Ghostwolf too. They kept talking about the Kachinas and how they weren't just the dolls, but you had the dancing Kachina, which would be the red star, the blue star that would come, the blue Kachina, then the red star would come, the dancing one. And with the red one would come Earth cataclysms. So everybody's paying attention and thought that maybe Hale-Bopp was the blue star, the blue Kachina. So I was always paying attention to that. But there have been others that have come into our solar system. Oumuamua is one. There's another one not a few years ago was called Comet Sighting. That was a very odd one that came in too. So I'm always looking to see if this Bracewell probes are coming back. And just while we're on this, because I want to just get this out, so you got some stuff. But
that's Oumuamua right there, by the way. I'm showing the audience. They actually say Oumuamua, and this is what they say that this new one looks like. It looks just like it.
Oh, okay. So I didn't know what shape it was. Oh, fascinating. Okay. So let's touch on something real quick, since it's this subject, which is I think that some of the near Earth objects that get completely ignored, and they've been around a long time. One of them is 2016 HO3. And that is about 100 feet across. And when it was found, they were saying that it almost appeared to be another moon for Earth.
Oh, yeah.
And then, but then what? We hear no more about that. Okay, right? Right. I mean, how many people right there heard 2016 HO3 mentioned every day in the news? Never.
I've never heard of it. It's the first time. I think. I don't know.
Another one I've always been really interested in. 2000 SG 344. Okay, 2000 SG 344. Take a look at that object. It's very near to Earth and it's bizarre, but we don't hear nothing about it. The one that you might be able to hear about sometimes is VG 1991. VG 1991, another close Earth object. Okay, almost within our orbit with us. So, I mean, these are things that just I think need to be looked at as if they're relics from a type 1 civilization when Earth was type 2. And you've got another one, Asteroid Bennu. And Asteroid Bennu is the one that they sent out that probe, the Osiris T-Rex probe, to collect samples and to bring them back to Earth. And some of these samples, I heard Richard Hoagland, and we'll bring him up on Thursday because I think his book Mars, the Monuments of Mars, is a really good book for us to, I think, key on during that show. Anyway, I had heard him talking about, this has been a while ago, that this asteroid, these specimens that they brought back, these rock specimens, appear to have, under the electron microscope, nanotechnology in them that would look like almost, he kept calling them nano gears. They almost look like gears. So that means that would be some type of, he's saying possibly it's some type of a craft that's been, ancient, or even converted by what you like to talk about, the stone solid stone technology.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
I was looking at an old comic book from like 1950, and these cats were supposed to try to mess with Mars, and these creatures are coming out with these light beams that were turning all their weapons into solid stone. So that concept's been around for a minute, you know.
Yeah, well, that's what we got into that with the whole petrified giants conversation, and the UFO that was shot down over the Ukraine by the Russian soldiers, and 23 out of 25 turned into stone when the ETs exited the craft, formed into an orb, and shot out some kind of beam or something that turned them all to stone, limestone. And I love making that connection. Every time I do a public presentation, I always include that. I can connect it to my Alabama dragon that we came across last year. Yeah, interesting stuff though.
Yeah. So it's worth everybody looking into Asteroid Bennu and what Richard Hoagland was saying as far as electron microscopy of it. Okay, and I real quick, that can be tied to also some of the rocks they brought back from the moon. I mentioned it before. The one that was, I don't know if it's on Trump's desk, but it was on Biden's, and it was a moon rock. And under electron microscopy, it looks similar. It looks like these gears are in it, and that's coming from our moon. So it says, we could go on for that, like we always do. But anyway, that's just stuff I wanted to throw in there. These other near-Earth objects that are worth people doing a little research on for themselves and discovering what do you think? These are all things that can be remote viewed. I haven't had time to throw all of them at you, but but it's still good. It's good food for thought, if nothing else.
Oh yeah. Well, they're making connections to this thing that we're talking about today. The hostile alien spacecraft is coming in to our solar system, or it's here. They're saying that it's actually the trajectory that it's on right now. It's not supposed to be hitting Earth, but it's going to be going behind the sun. And I found that really interesting because, you gave me that remote viewing target of the Earth's weaponized natural portals, and I ended up on the sun. Remember that? And we kind of determined through the data, it suggested that maybe the sun is a portal. So I don't know what kind of connection that might have. Maybe it's just going to be behind the sun. But is it? I mean, there's a lot of speculation behind all this with this object.
When you start dealing with those type 2, type 3 civilizations, in theory, they're actually using the fabric of space, but the fabric of black holes as their prime power source. So it gives them the ability to create suns, move planets, all the things our friend Jock Doubleday talks about, and how Earth, quote unquote, Terra, appeared to be geoengineered, appears to be. So, it's things that we start dealing with those type of civilizations that are dealing with the sun. The sun, I've mentioned before that what we call the cold spots are not a point. And when you look at SOHO, there are those black spots that come up. But not just solar prominences. What are they? They're the holes anyway. Convinced those are portals. I've always been told that. Those are doorways through the sun. And when you start dealing with warp drives and interstellar travel, I think you're looking at suns are actually, as much as the Makos of them are a part of the travel system for really advanced civilizations that we can't even detect yet. Not consciously or physically. I think it's real serious, those some of those civilizations that don't exist anymore, Jessica, but they still exist in the quantum hologram, the black holes, which means Akashic records, and they can still communicate with us through the brain waves.
Gosh, I'm so glad that we've already had these discussions for years now, and so I know what you're talking about. Otherwise, I would have no clue what you're talking about right now. It makes sense. We started about the Makos and the portals with the Mel's Hole remote viewing target that you and I and Tanya did. We did the show on that, and wow, what a fantastic target that was.
That was the first time. Was that the first time I jumped off in a hole bigger than I thought it was? Literally bit off more than I thought I could chew. It's like, man, I often want to see how much of this fits what I can see, and then what my hypotheses are too. Both of them together, and then I wind up getting that and more. But that's the fun of it,
It is. That's why I love doing this, and I love having these targets you give me. You gave me a great one we'll go over it on Thursday, y'all. But it's on Mars. Okay. And the data is pretty mind blowing. I haven't really gone and dug back into it. It was so late last night when we were kind of exchanging our data, and you told me what the target was. So,
you remember my first response on that? It's 4-letter word.
Whoa, I don't know.
When you showed me the data, the data, 4-letter response. We'll leave it at that.
It was a cuss word. I'm pretty sure, wasn't it? Started with an F. It rhymes with luck. That's all I'm going to say. So yeah, it's pretty fantastic, and we'll go over that on Thursday, y'all. Okay, but it's something on Mars, right? And I think it's very important. I'm not sure if it connects to what we're talking about today in any kind of a way, but it connects to a lot of the other targets that we've done. And even things that I've talked about, even with Jock as well. I remember I went on a show. He did a show, and he was like, "Oh, he wanted to bring some people on that had memories of maybe possibly having past lives on Mars and stuff." And so we got to have a fun discussion that day.
Don't you have that? Is that you that has one too? Don't you have one?
I have. This is really interesting. I don't know for sure, but I do. I have had memories. Flashes of being there, but it was my memories were completely different from what everybody on that panel was talking about. So I was like, man, I feel like the odd man out today, because I don't know, I'm not seeing like futuristic stuff. I'm seeing like something from a long time ago, and that's what I remember. Yeah,
we'll do this on Thursday, but I will say this.
Okay.
I've had some clients during past life regressions that describe something similar to what you did.
Yeah.
So there, to quote my deceased mother, where there's smoke, there's fire.
That's amazing. We'll talk about that on Thursday then, and I can't wait to hear about it. Yeah, it's pyramids and all that. It's almost like being in ancient Egypt, and I've always felt a connection between Mars and ancient Egypt as well. And ancient Egypt might have been right here too. There are Egyptian settlements all over the place, back in the day. But that's a discussion for Thursday. Okay, for sure. Polly has a very good question here. And I had posed this question as well, Polly. If this is an alien threatening craft or something like that, how do they know, and who? Because that person is a huge key here. Yeah. That's my question, Barry. Out of all the articles I read, all it said was this one scientist, this astrophysicist. First thing it said, I think it's out of Israel, actually. He's like an Israeli astrophysicist from what I read. Yeah. And Avi Loeb, I pulled up his Wikipedia page a while ago, and he's out of Harvard. Okay, you've got to follow the money trail too sometimes with these things. The funding, right, Barry?
Entertainment only, Jones. Entertainment only.
Entertainment purposes only. Because you got to wonder, because he's the one that's been blowing the whistle on this, and nothing has really come to fruition yet. But we've got this highly anticipated alien takeover coming up sometime. Cue the alien invasion. Things like that we side eye everything that comes into our focus at this point, like anything in the news, anything interstellar. We're always looking at it with I'm not gonna say we have a fine-tooth comb, okay, but a lot of us do look at things sideways when we get information like this. So how would this scientist know that this is a hostile threat? Like what gives off the energy of being a hostile threat, Barry? Do you know?
In my opinion, absolutely nothing. I think that fear, like I said earlier, fear sells. You know what I mean? Nothing he said about Oumuamua was correct. So I mean, it's but yet it caused a deal like this. I do believe he said it was coming to destroy us too. Yeah. So I mean, it's regardless, it's just I think that's what sells. It's more, I think, interesting to deal with the other science behind it and see what leaves behind, because let's face it, nothing he's saying is going to happen. Okay, not even close. And the odds of me being wrong on this are about like what 1%. I mean, come on. How many times have you heard these predictions from these people? For me, it's going back to like 86. I started hearing that all the time because at 86, we're supposed to be finished at 88. That was year 88. Everything's done.
I mean, all doom and gloom.
It's continually that. But, I think that we've talked about this before. These are attempts to, I think, jump us to a negative timeline. or to a
Yes.
negative outcome based on the morphogenic fields being emitted from humanity on this planet. And I think it's getting real serious with that right now. You know, some of us are holding a different vibration. Some are still so low, but that keeps it low. So it's got to be, you know, never mind that it could be something we could try to communicate with. Instead of that, you know, or what signals are they sending to this thing? They're not telling us that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and yeah, Moondog Davis said, I think it was Moondog said your favorite term, loosh. Loosh. It's the loosh factory out there.
And, you know,
And,
every time I hear it, I always initially think about you and your audience always.
yes.
And of course, Jolly Ranchers for some reason. It just sounds like it could be a Jolly Rancher flavor. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and you know, Robin, this is a good point too. She says a whole string of gatekeepers just suddenly pop out too. And you know, they've got to, it's almost like there is a narrative. And I wanted to actually, let me share my screen real quick because I wanted to show the audience this. I think this was fantastic because I'm paying attention now. I always pay attention, y'all. Okay, I try to. But let me share my screen. I'm going to show you what this is. DuckDuckGo. Okay, and I just typed in hostile alien spacecraft headed towards Earth, and I want to show you what all pops up because these are all pretty much mainstream media. Okay, mainstream media. If y'all can see that, I don't have two screens open today. It says, but it's New York Post, possibly. Hostile alien threat detected in unknown interstellar orbit or something like that. Alien attack in November is the next one. Possible hostile alien object could arrive in November. Incoming alien. I mean, hostile alien threat. Incoming aliens. Hostile alien spacecraft. I mean, it's, I don't know. I mean, some of these are not all totally mainstream, but kind of are. And so that gets my attention. Okay. And that's really all it is, like money control, MSN, futurism, MSN, Yahoo, MSN, Orbital Today. You know, I just wanted to point that out. That is all. That is all. Okay. It's where, okay, so what is MSN? Like, I swear, if you got like I've got like one of my computers is like a Microsoft, like I've got like the Windows and stuff on it. When you open it up, it's like MSN. Sometimes I try to disable it a million times, and it pops up occasionally. And what is the? I mean, that is what the majority of people. A lot of people have that on their computers. You open it up, and depend. Well, I don't know if you got a MacBook, it's probably different. Okay, but anyways, you pull that up, and that's what we see. It's like kind of forced on us, right? So this is like almost like a narrative that they want us to ingrain into instill into the back of our subconscious is like, oh, we have a possible alien threat. It's going to be here. And they gave us a date, Barry, November. We have till November, till the end of the world, and we're taken over by aliens. You know, I
mean, you've got, like I said, fear cells, and if they could maybe shift more energy into that, something negative can manifest. And you know as well as I do, we're dealing with these different energies and these different methodologies of manifesting things, you know, and that anyway.
Yeah. Yes, it is, but it feels like there is a narrative. Okay, and they're setting it up. They're setting it up to knock it out, but not to say there's not some kind of object coming into Earth. I mean, they say that they just picked this up on July the 1st, which was about 27 days ago, right? Not very long ago.
And then by what is the day? The 28th, and it's already determined as hostile, huh? What signals?
Yes.
What the other person had asked, or was it Robin? What signals have they picked up? What evidence do they have this is hostile? What is that based on? I have found
nothing.
You know, yeah.
I have found nothing that says that proves it's hostile. And here's another thing: some of these articles that I was reading said that, well, this is only this scientist hypothesis, and that's what he believes, and it has not been peer reviewed yet, so no one else has backed this up. It's just him, just this one astrophysicist or whatever he is, astroscientist, I don't know, whatever you're calling him.
And like somebody mentioned, he's a major hitter, and the reason why is because he's put all that hardware in space, as has Musk. Yeah. I was gonna throw another name out because people don't really research it. Old Carson has put a bunch of stuff in space too.
Oh yeah,
People don't
Billy
seem to know
Carson.
that.
That's right.
He's funded by somebody or something. I can only look so much because that's just how it is. But
Yeah.
it's still worthy food for food for thought.
Oh yeah.
And I know he was trying to put as much stuff in space as Musk was. That was the
Really?
talk. Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Well, you know what?
When I found it, I was somewhat shocked. But hey, it is what it is. I don't.
Oh my gosh. You know what? I was just thinking. I actually know a fella who helped sponsor one of my trips that I went on. That has a satellite company himself. Bob Estes, actually, with ST Satellites, is one who I believe he sponsored my trip. One of the sponsors up to Montauk about 2 years ago. And I thought that was interesting because I was doing a little remote viewing for them with the whole ship, the USS Eldridge that was supposed to be coming back at Montauk through that biorhythmic portal that comes through every 20 years right there, where the Montauk project was conducted out there, y'all. So anyways, man, what an interesting.
That's going to come up on Thursday again.
No way.
Satellites. That's going to come up on Thursday. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It's going to come up. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, y'all hold your horses. We got a good show for y'all coming up on Thursday, for sure. But okay, I actually have a friend. He's not here anymore. He passed away. But he used to actually part of one of his jobs he had was to watch objects that were coming into our solar system for like a big companies, like major corporations and stuff. And man, he would be all on this today if he were still here. He would.
You know, there's that. It's like a net that they use. It's a satellite program, and you can like get on it and try to find objects heading towards Earth. I mean, it's like a deal, kind of like not like Project Stardust, but something like that. Somebody in your audience will know, but I mean, you can actually log on there and try to find. It's just scanning these satellite systems or whatever that are scanning for that. So I find that very interesting, and how much they're actually, professional corporations, large ones, and independent astronomers and astrophysicists looking for these things coming towards Earth. And the one we always hear about, of course, is I think the most notorious one, that the possible wormwood. It's Apophis, right? And Apophis is the one that has the biggest chance of hitting us, at least of known objects that'll be coming by here. Now, I don't know what year that is. Somebody in your audience, your audience is much sharper than I, but there's a year that it's supposed to come close to us, at 2033 or something like that. Anyway, but that's one that, like, if it changes its trajectory and goes through a certain thread or window, it'll hit Earth. And I think it's like, what is it? It's like maybe a 60-mile gap or something like that. I don't know. Somebody in your chat will know, or people can just research it. It's Asteroid Apophis. That's the one they talk about a lot, that could possibly hit us if it threads through a certain keyhole. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Well, Scott's got a lot of information on all this. Thank you, Scott. He says Apophis is 2029. Is that 2029? Oh my gosh. Yeah. Close past in 2029. My goodness. And Brown Bigfoot Dwarf said Niburu. I think that's how you pronounce that too.
Y'all know how I feel about Niburu. Come on now. Y'all know. Because and you know why? You and I did too much work on the trans-Neptunian objects.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You just called them brown dwarf planets.
Brown dwarf planets, that's right. Speaking of, and Bigfoot Dwarf is AKA brown dwarf, by the way. Right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was actually just going through some of my old targets this week and like looking through some of my files and trying to like organize a little bit. I can't even keep up with all the targets I've done, but I did come across those 3 brown dwarf planets that I had done the remote viewing on, and that was from some fantastic data too. Man, you really had me digging into those. They had life on those too.
Oh yeah, it was a good one. It was a good one, and that was based on my experiences. I couldn't go further than that, but it was worth finding out. Things I've always been curious about, and it's since most of us that have these experiences, we can't prove anything. You know, so getting a little bit of science that backs up what you've experienced cognitively and perception wise, it does count and it helps, you know, because sometimes you've got a lot of people in your audience that are really sharp and they're looking for answers, and they've gone through a lot of different channels and sources, and they get BS, and it's regurgitated cookie cutter BS. And for someone like me, I'm not that old, but I go far enough back to where I can tell you I was hearing the same BS in the 80s, you know.
I know.
I'm serious. I'm just being honest, man. You know, that's what, you know, that's what, heck, that was when things were different, because the 80s wanted to be super technological like it is now, but it wasn't there yet. But when you look at TV, all that stuff represents where we're at right now. You know, something like tell me they couldn't build a Knight 2000 right now. You've got the AI for it. You've got the military metamaterials that can make it impervious to most things. They almost got the anti-gravity or gravity modification that could pull off the turbo boost. Almost, but I mean, as far as just, it had GPS, lasers, the microwave line. What's up with that? You know, I mean, just stuff like that, I think, is just interesting, and to see how much that's becoming like something like the Bringers of Dawn. This is almost like, if you look at what she was saying, it's like almost the Bible for New Agers right now. It's the same stuff. You know, and a few others. Hold on, real quick. Remember this one? Preparing for Contact, or The Prism of Lyra. All those are books by Lissa Royale. She was like Barbara Martinique too. Okay, and I'm just saying, when you read those things and see what's going on, just food for thought. That's all. Shut my mouth before I get in trouble. Yeah. Somebody start throwing carrots at me. The Apollo.
No, listen, that's why I'm so happy you're here today, because I think that you know the history of all of this. It's not just like a fly by the seat of your pants. Like, here we go. We've got these articles, and so we've got an alien invasion coming. We got a threat. I know that you have put in the groundwork for all of this, you know, all the research that you've done. You just go to your YouTube channel and see that you're head and shoulders above a lot of the other researchers out there when it comes to this, especially on YouTube.
Oh, hey,
I'm just saying, you have one of the best libraries on YouTube of topics like this.
That. I appreciate that. Thanks. It's a nice thing to say.
It's true.
You know, so I think that us keeping, you know, somewhat grounded with these things is important. Like I said, and especially conscious. And right now, what you're doing, like remote viewing and things, this is something, you know, you could look at too, as that object, you know, and see what do you get off of it. You know what I mean? I think that that's really the way the universe works than other. You know what I mean? At least for us, coming as type 1 civilization, other ways that we're becoming that. I think remote viewing is a real one. And, you know, the more reason that I try to protect the targets I give to you and you before I even give them to you, because I know that there are other entities out here that are they're influencing you remote viewers. They've been waiting for y'all. Okay. You know it. It's already, because it's something we're discovering now as we evolve, but it's something they've been doing. So they're already going to try to distract a lot of y'all and put on some sort of a false narrative and something negative. You know what I mean? The same way that they created our religions and used that to completely influence us. You know what I mean? And they know us, and the predators have given us their mind to a degree. That's why we're so savage-like down here, man. You know? Anyway, we're not going into that right now. We got to stay out. I really miss the sunshine. You know that. Just the guy with the milk carton, right?
Yeah. Well, you know, here's the thing about all this. You know, there's a lot of doom and gloom, and people are speculating what's going to happen. And we got that final date of November 2025 when this, you know, spacecraft is incoming. Red alert, right? I like to put this out there, bring you on. Let's have a discussion about it, and let's ease the tension a little bit, okay? Because this has been done before. This is history repeating itself, kind of, in a way. And not to say we shouldn't keep our eyes on it. Let's always keep our eyes in the sky, but don't panic.
You know, question concerning this. Now, this is one I'm trying to remember. Didn't I give you as a target the black satellite, the Black Knight?
I have definitely remote viewed the Black Knight satellite. Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yes.
That's another Earthbound near Earth object that I didn't mention that goes into the other ones that I forgot about. And just to cross-reference that real quick, when you had given the data on that, I remember it decisively, you talking about the black coating on it. Okay. And lighting, absorbing light. And it sounded like an advanced metamaterial that we now have called Vanta Black. And Vanta Black, I think I mentioned it before, Vanta Black is actually based on uromelanin and phenomelanin. It's a little different, but I mean, it absorbs light. And it's just, and that's the same thing I see coded over some of these pyramids in past life memories.
Oh, and like the Dark Pyramid of Alaska that Tanya and I both had remote viewed that you gave us, and it was obsidian. We were seeing, she and I both were seeing like obsidian on it or something, is what it looked like.
Mm-hmm. I think if you look at where we're at with Vanta Black and maybe advanced it a little more structurally and maybe, composition wise, I think that's what you're looking at there. And it's probably even got some sort of, I imagine, high resistance, like some of those military metamaterials do, aka the Knight Rider again. The what do they call it then? A molecular shell bond or something like that. They call it in there, but really that's just metamaterials. Same as like the way they can make actually glass in zero gravity. Like if it was even outside of, let's say outside of the Earth's atmosphere, but zero gravity. And when they the bind, how it bonds, it makes it like almost a super material. So that's like some of the limousines, I think for the president's limousines, are bonded like that. Yeah. So it's fascinating. We start doing that, and that then again that metamaterials, that takes us into the invisibility and all that type of stuff.
Yeah,
and how they're going so much further with that now. It's who knows where they're with it now, because that's just stuff that's in the public sector. So who knows,
Exactly. Well, I was just looking up the Black Knight satellite remote viewing data, but I couldn't find it. But I did come across the black cube near the sun. Okay, we've still got that we got to contend with, right?
Yeah.
We got that, and also hold on, everything black. I did the Black Midas. That's another ship that Arkeem had me do some remote viewing on. But in the black goo, I've actually remote viewed black goo too. Okay, so any kind of the Black Knight satellite though is here somewhere. But what about that black cube too? What does that have to do?
You didn't know that was blind target, and you came that data. You had all this machinery. You had very huge machinery that was
piled up and piled high. What I was seeing was, and it was wild because do you remember it was like a tether? I drew like an object and there was something tethering it to something else, and it was that's exactly what this thing was. So weird. I wrote down. Do you want me to read my data real quick for the black cube connected to the sun? Hold on, I can't see very well.
And that led to the weaponized portals of the sun, right? Or was that a different one?
We did this one later.
Something weird happened.
This was later. So I wrote fire zapped laser beam molten lava. Okay. Artist rendition or artist heavy load temperature check, winner, piled high, piled up, a direct hit is what I wrote down. And let's see, let me go to the next page. I wrote a black cube. I literally wrote down black cube, and I said a solid black cube in quarters or safe quarters. Something that was under sub-zero subterranean is what I wrote down. I wrote sub-zero. Something that crashed, a demolition, demo or demolition. And there were pieces and they're metal shard. I was picking up on metal, like a metallic, some kind of metallic thing. And then let's go to the next page. Map it all out. Harmful, downward spiral, the void, black. I kept picking up on a lot of black data. Like I kept writing down black and something that was wrecked. I said it was wrecked. Yeah. Yeah. It's wild, right? I mean, there's more data there, but that's just kind of the gist of it. If you guys want to see, the data is all on my Patreon. If you guys ever want to go, you can search out all my targets that I've done over there on Patreon.
Yeah, that one was odd, different. I didn't know what was going to come of it, but I mean, to be honest, quite honest, because I automatically, we want to associate some of these things with science fiction. So the first thing that comes to my mind, of course, is Borg, because they have the cubes and they're cybernetic and stuff. But what you were describing that data, I'm sorry, it was a little bit worse than Borg, and less any type of humanoid. That would be Borg would be cyborg. There was no human component of what you described there. It was all artificial, right? Unless my mind is deceiving me.
Yeah, you gave me more targets, actually. There's like a whole other target here for that one, too. So,
the other one, the spherical object.
Maybe so. I don't know. There's another target here. I'm not sure which one this one is. This is something that there's like 3 targets here, actually. There's more. Yeah, I don't know. We don't have to go over all that today. Maybe we can talk about it tomorrow.
Just so everybody knows, these are things that were observed. Oh God, excuse me. Observed by the. Sorry, so you see what happens when I start getting too excited and my mind's flying all over. These were targets that were actually derived from things that were observed by the SOHO satellite, and the SOHO takes pictures of the sun every I don't remember, was it every 2 minutes or something like that. It's been doing it for ages now, and anybody can access that on the SOHO website. Get in there and start looking at. They show actually the sun every 2 minutes, but they take it in several nanospectrums. You've got the green, yellow, red. You can look on there and you can get the data archives. Go to the data archives, and it's a little hard to figure out, but once you do, you can look at these clips of the sun. And you can see objects going out of the sun, coming in the sun, around the sun, as well as seeing solar prominences, solar flares. All this stuff is recorded by SOHO and it's public record. So it's something for everybody to be aware of. Again, food for thought, entertainment only, and that's definitely entertaining. You can even get on YouTube and some people catch these cubes and these spheres, especially the ones that appear to be deflecting earthbound directed solar flares, or close to earthbound or close to earth directed. So people say we don't get any help. Sure about that?
Yeah. Oh no, we do. RJ says, thanks for covering this. I'm feeling like this is a comet and the deep state is planning on using this as a Project Bluebeam event. Maybe, they say that this doesn't have a tail on it, Barry. Does that make a difference in making it into a comet or not? If it's a comet, there's no tail on it.
I'm not an astronomer, but I thought that most comets have a tail, even if it's a smaller one. Because didn't Halley's comet have a smaller tail? It
had a tail. I remember seeing that when I was a kid.
Yeah, but wasn't it smaller? Not as big as long as most comets for its age or something like that? I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm not an astronomer. I'm already out of my depth. I don't want to get any watermelons thrown at my head.
Oh yeah. Dan wants to know, you are a massive fan of movies. Have you ever seen The Phantoms from 1998 or Phantoms? So I don't know, it must be a movie. Thanks, Dan.
I gotta tell you, I don't think so. I'm sorry, I don't think so. It's not ringing a bell. I don't think so. I've not heard of it.
Yes, and Barry knows movies now. He does.
Hey, thanks. Just the brother gets too excited, read too much, and freaks out. That's about it.
Yes. Michelle Rue says Igor Kostelak, I think is how you say that, showed how many comets came in our system. Thousands of comets. My goodness. And Maureen, thank you for gifting those memberships. 10 Cryptid Hunters memberships to some lucky viewers today. Thank you, Maureen and Gus. Y'all are the best. I appreciate y'all. Actually, okay, so Barry, I was just looking at this data for this black cube that you gave me as a target. You gave me these are all 3 of these targets are the same black cube. I was just looking. They're not a different. These are all three different targets from this black cube. I want to read some of the data. I think this is interesting. So I wrote space landing, metals, alien technology, future technology, advanced civilization from the future, coping mechanism, level up, Thanos, the destroyer of worlds and realities.
Well, that sucks, man.
Yeah, that's what I wrote down.
That's
I wrote
why
down
I try to forget that. Obviously, sorry.
That's
keep
what
going,
it
please.
was. Okay, I just wanted to
Sorry.
remind you so it'd get your blood pumping today.
Oh,
Just kidding.
gosh. On a downward spiral.
Yeah. We're gonna bring it back up. Don't worry. But I wrote down space age, interdimensional technology, and then I was picking up on a large convoy of many vessels, and I wrote like a whole bunch of like circles with like line, looked like a whole like a swarm of UFOs or something is what it looks like. And I wrote down stronger together, and then fly away in a mob, like a mob of something. And so that was in the second target. The third target, which was the same target, generator, push and pull gravity, rocks and minerals, self-centered in a core. There's some kind of core, egocentric, a comet. I actually wrote down comet in this data, and it says there's a rough surface, crags and stuff. I don't know. Hold on one second. I got another page here. It says precognition, natural gas, planets aligned, solid structure, shungite and obsidian, and a meteorite. That's what I wrote down. Shungite, obsidian, and meteorite. That's that black stone again that you're talking about. That's wild. That was actually in this data for these blind targets you gave me.
See, I must be mistaken. I thought one of those was actually the spear, though.
Maybe it was. I have them all down here for this.
I mean, it's all connected though. So I mean, it does.
Yeah.
But yeah, that right there, dealing with all those interdimensional, advanced civilization, and it makes you wonder: are they not really sentient, but are they organic at all? I'm wondering. Are they even silicon based, or what are they?
I don't know. I just remembered something. I'm wearing not only shungite, but a meteorite too. I have a meteorite, shungite, and what is the other stone? It's like a diamond, a Herkimer diamond, I think. That's on my necklace. I don't have these in my shop, but I can get some if y'all want some. I've got access to get some meteorites. It's like my favorite thing to wear. So it's out of this world. Out of this world. And I may have something at War Woman Good. I don't know. You'll go check it out. But I can get some more in if y'all want some. Just let me know. And because I see Margaret said, I want a shungite necklace. And I started thinking, man, I've got one on right now. It's good for protection. That's for sure. Especially if you're a starseed. Okay.
There's something I find very interesting when it comes to actually Sug Knight. And, and I know how much it became just like when it was discovered, it seems like it, or at least got popular. Suddenly it was the cure for anything, any type of polluted water or anything you might have. Sug Knight is the key. But, when dealing with that, actually, if I'm not mistaken, Sug Knight is composed of carbon-60, right?
You're saying Sug Knight. I think it's shungite, but Sug Knight isn't Sug Knight in gel.
Sug Knight. I didn't say Sug Knight. No, trying to come on, man. I'm still getting crap for
records. What?
Even Ike, Icky, Wiki, Picky. I don't care, but
I was like, when did Sug Knight come into this conversation?
But check it out. So you got to be careful because my mind. I won't remember what I'm saying.
We have fun over here. You can't say we don't have fun, y'all.
When it comes to Sug Knight, I can't say it. Anyway, coming to I believe it's composed of carbon-60, right? Yes. And when dealing with carbon-60, it's got the same thing that as this, you can't really see it, but it's this device that was in here that looked like what we call C60 now to me, although this was huge, okay? But it was this ball that had these hexagons in it emitting this golden light, okay? And when I actually saw you start messing with me, the boss man next. But when you're looking at that, it looks quite similar to C60, which I think has a lot to do with the S word there. So it's just it's food for thought again, and that took me as an experiencer contactee into that whole thing. What is the honeycomb conjecture? Why do bees use the hexagon to store their energy? What is it about that shape? You know, it's food for thought again, okay?
Yeah.
But anyway,
No,
I barely
that's
got
a
that one
good
out. I
question.
barely got that one out, man.
Oh man, we gotta still have fun over here. We're talking about some wild stuff. It can be pretty intense, y'all. So but yeah. Leah says I have shungite on my phone. Yeah, a lot of people use shungite. It actually is supposed to like repel the EMF and stuff. And from if you have Wi-Fi in your house or whatever's on your cell phone.
I wonder, is it like a case or?
She probably got one of those. It could be a case. But I think you can also put like those little things that you put on the back that like you hold your fingers on. I don't know what they're called. It's like a finger holder. I don't know. Those oftentimes have those. Like you can just glue a chunk of shungite to your phone too, to your case probably. I don't know.
Did you just say Sug Knight?
Shungite. Well, they make those necklaces too. Like I have a chunk of shungite on my necklace here, but they make them into like discs. It's like a sphere, like a disc. And it's flat, and that's probably how they're on their phones and stuff, on people's phones. Yeah, I don't know. I was told by a good friend of mine that we should all be wearing shungite on a necklace. Our children too.
You know, when I first went out, of course, I was a teenager, but I studied, especially it was Cosmic Pulse of Life, and by James Trevor Constable. And I got way carried away because he was given actually instructions how to make some of these cloud busters and things, and they were so simplistic. I made a couple of them, and I mentioned to you before on several different deals. So I don't want to sound like this cookie cutter brother, but I started combusting these clouds. Everything was fine. It was real cool. Then I learned how to do it with my eyes. You don't need the devices. You can do it with your eyes, and actually the X-rays and radiation that comes out of your eyes, and you can pull the energy back, the orgone energy back, the life, the prana. But the problem is, you do it like that, you can only take out a couple of clouds, and you get overcharged. Better go jump your ass in a pool or something to discharge or have some good sex, because you get
no.
Well, that's the way you got to remember. Orgone is based on the orgasm, aka Wilhelm Reich. It's all connected. You got to be aware of that. Anyway, it's life energy, yo.
Wow. Anyway, I told you we always learn something on this show, don't we? That's new.
Orgasm, orgone, Anyway, when dealing with that, but with these devices, everything was fine until I started dealing with like nimbus clouds and trying to break them down, and it worked a little. But then I started like not feeling so good after that. Doing that a few times. And what's happening was I wasn't grounding the water source I was using in this bucket. And a lot of people say, so I was getting sick, and this thing was collected, maybe is what you would call loosh, because loosh is DOR, deadly orgone radiation, which is the dark stuff that actually holds the nimbus cloud together. So that started accumulating in the machine. And, on the infrared spectrum with ultraviolet filters on those old Polaroids, I started taking pictures around these things, and I started seeing these creatures. That's what Constable said you could do. And they looked like amoebas to me, or some type of microorganism. Now, people have asked me, were those archons feeding on, say the word,
loosh?
Yeah, there you go. I gotta get that out of my mind. When you say that, I see like the Ghostbusters thing, how the hot dog's in its mouth, but it's a bunch of Jolly Ranchers.
Oh yeah, Slimer? Is that Slimer? I don't know. Is that what you're talking about? The green guy?
I don't. It wasn't the Keymaster. I know that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I need to watch that movie again. It's been a while.
Man, I forgot what I was saying now. It's going to get too much fun.
About Moosh.
People are getting mad at me. Oh yeah. Sorry. These creatures, and they're caused also. I've heard them called energy zoa or critters also.
Yes.
But they could be archons. I don't know. But they look to me more like, if you look at like some pond scum at about 100, 200x, you see those microorganisms, they look like that to me. And I think they're all in our atmosphere like that, like Constable says. Okay, so anyway, but point being, I'm saying all that to get back to, I had a bunch of people, of course, advise me, if I just would have put some Sug Knightly in there and not everything would have been fine. If I put that in the bucket, I wouldn't have had any problems at all. So I just want you to know that.
Oh my God, I just got the best idea actually. If I could find somebody that would carve Sug Knight into a piece of shungite, wouldn't that be that would be a top seller right there, I think. Or maybe not. Probably nobody'd buy it. But Corey's asking, where can I get shungite? Well, after today, I'm going to stock up on some and sell it in my shop at We're Woman Goods, but you can find it anywhere. Just look up shungite. You could even get it on Amazon, probably. I'm sure. I remember when my friend was like, "Hey, you and your son both need to be wearing shungite like every day." You can go to somewhere like Etsy or whatever, but I went straight to Amazon to find those little discs. Now I don't know about the quality and stuff. You got to really dig into where you're sourcing it from and where it's coming from. Make sure it's like legit stuff. Okay. Yeah. So I'll be looking into it, and if I can get my hands on some bulk shungite, I'll put some in my shop for y'all. As far as jewelry goes. Okay. So, but anyways.
So in your opinion, when you hold Sug Knight, they really messed me up now mentally. I may never get over that. When you hold the S word, does the energy of it feel similar to you as Moldavite does? Or do they feel different? It does.
Actually, well, that's wild because I have a meteorite, a chunk of a meteorite. I have a ring with meteorite in it as well that matches this that I've had for a long time. It does. It feels, well, it's almost like it does put off an interesting energy to it, I think. I wear it because I like I kind of like repelling all of the frequencies and stuff. That's why I wear it, honestly. And it's pretty too. I think it's pretty. But yeah, I also have had Moldavite. I used to sell Moldavite jewelry in my shop, and that stuff sells out quick. Okay. A lot of people are into Moldavite. That is an amazing stone, actually, amazing crystal. That's out of this world as well. All these are very out of this world.
Interesting techite it is, or yeah. Techite. Anyway, I've met some people that can't wear a Moldavite.
Oh, really?
They say, "Are you laughing at me?" They say it gives them like a blister or something. The energy it emits. Really? I've heard that a couple of times, actually. Yeah, not everybody, just a few people have said that they can't seem to wear it. Like they have allergic reaction to it. I always got a kick out of it because it kind of reminds me of like Smallville. They have his allergic reaction to kryptonite, and it kind of looks like kryptonite. Some of it.
It does. It's green. It's a green crystal, and it does look like kryptonite. Actually, let's see. I might pull some up. Show the audience. Moldavite. Moldavite. Yeah, people that were buying this from me when I had it back in my shop. They were very particular about like where it's sourced from and things like that. And so here, let me pull this up on the screen. I'll show the audience in case anybody's wondering what Moldavite is.
I think it's the most beautiful of the techites too, or techites. I think it's the most beautiful of them, honestly. Because I can't be the only person that, like in '78 when he saw the original Superman and he told him, "Don't touch that," and he flipped it open as kryptonite was in there, how it glowed like that. First time you really saw that type of a kryptonite meteorite like that, I thought it was just a great concept,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now this is like raw Moldavite right here, and but when you get it in jewelry, let's see if I can find some jewelry up here at the top. Wow, that's pretty. You can buy this is on eBay right here. It kind of looks like a emerald when it's cut, I guess. I don't know, but I like it raw. I think it actually is better. The energy is better on it if it's raw. Okay, if it's like not faceted. Okay, and by faceted I mean like in a gemstone, like a ring or something like that. Like this shungite that I have on my necklace, and none of this is cut like faceted. Okay, it's just raw, and they say that it's actually better. Energetically, it's better like that. So let's see if this will pull up here for you guys. Here we go. Let's just see what Moldavite is real quick. I don't know if this is pulling up on the screen for you guys. Let me read this. Okay, here we go. Oh, here we go. Moldavite is a member of the techite family. Its formation is amorphous and with inclusions with color ranging from green to brown. And let's see what it has. For the third,
Because when
the
a
crown of the
meteorite, when
third
a
eye
meteorite
chakras.
hit there, it blasted up all the pieces and created different colors of moldavite, right? As it went up into the atmosphere with the
Yeah.
heat, and it came back down. And
Yes, I
green
think
is the
that's what
most
it.
rare, right? Yeah.
Yes, I was trying to find more information on it right here. I must have hit the wrong website. That was not a good one. It's maybe the same one. Hold on. A lot of times it'll give you like the history behind the stone and like where it comes from and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know. This is the same. The same website.
Just as a thing of reference, and probably everybody in your audience already knows about it, but just for fun, a really good reference book. I've got these books I was pulling out by Melody. She's dead now, but it's Kaleidoscopes of Crystals. It's really good information. I think this is a second edition, but it was really a lot of good information in there. Another one, Pocket Book of Stones. Good information in that one too. So just food for thought. I think reference books are cool, but this one right here is really good in terms of what she offers spiritually. She has almost every gem and mineral in here you can name, almost. So I think that's pretty interesting. Just again, food for thought.
Oh yeah, EA says the real moldavite will at first amplify things around you spiritually. People report feeling bad at first, and then a big breakthrough. That's really cool. Yeah, it's very powerful, and I actually have heard too that it's hard for people to wear it, and it's not for everybody. And let's see, I'm trying to. Oh, here it goes. It says moldavite is a forest green, olive green, blue greenish sliced projectile glass formed by a meteorite impact in southern Germany. It's specific, and that's what people used to ask me: is this from Germany? Okay, just from Germany. That occurred about 15 million years ago. It is a type of techite and a gemstone. Material ejected from the impact crater includes moldavite, which was strewn across parts of Germany, the Czech Republic, and Austria. That's it. So they came off a meteorite. So I don't know.
Impact with the earth minerals too. Somebody, I can't see it now. Somebody mentioned Libyan. Oh gosh, now I'm all messed up on words. Libyan glass. Okay, and I thought that's different in moldavite in that it appears that glass appears to have been made under cold fusion, or under fusion rather, not cold fusion but fusion, as in nuclear, and it might represent a nuclear disaster that was once here, or detonation of something that was nuclear. Yeah, Libyan. God, Libyan. I can't say it now. But that glass, the L was called the L glass. So I'll get laughed out of your chat. Anyway, but that's supposed to be the result of nuclear radiation and fusion.
Okay, let me read what it says here. It says Libyan desert glass or great sand sea glass is an impactite made mostly of Lissa Royale. Okay. Found in areas in the eastern Sahara, in the deserts of eastern Libya and western Egypt. Fragments of desert glass can be found over areas of tens of square kilometers. Like obsidian, it was kidnapped and used to make tools during the Pleistocene. Okay, that's interesting too. And that it looks like glass like you'd find at the ocean. What is that, like ocean glass or sea glass? But it's brown. Okay, so very interesting.
Since we're in the land of conspiracy sometimes, okay?
Always.
And when I was told, I don't mention any names because I take heat. You know what I mean? Okay. It's not like I believe everything any individual says, but I get told things. I met a lot of people. It's interesting for whatever reason, Creator put me in that position. But this individual made this huge claims to me when we talked about the moon. Privately, just him and I on the dark side. He said, "I said, what do you think about the tower back there, or the palace, or any of the things that Richard Hoagland talks about that he's got some scientific evidence of? Okay, and those NASA pictures." This individual says, of course, it goes to doom and gloom pretty quick. The solar flash that goes through our solar system and basically decimates everywhere, kind of like the Nexus on Star Trek Generations. But hey, whatever. When it came through this solar system and it hit the dark side of the moon, it turned the already mounds back there, some of them that had a crystalline component to it, silicon component, into this like Libyan glass, similar to that. And that's what the actual the tower is and everything, is that type of material. Can't say I fully agree with that. Don't say I believe that, but it's just interesting for those of you that are expecting the solar flash to come here any day and wipe us out. It's an interesting theory, you know. So
waiting for some. I mean, everything's coming to wipe us out. I guess I don't know. We're all gonna die.
It's like you know. Never mind that we're on a timeline right now. We got people that are incarnated just like you and I, that are some sort of demon that can't live, they can't love. There's something wrong with these people. Okay, and they're putting us back on that timeline or that projection for nuclear war. How many times have you heard that? If you look anything, it's coming up again a lot, and it's terrifying. You know, I mean, it's like we don't ever get past that, and the destruction. You know, I was just recently talking to somebody. Who was it? Anyway, I was talking about the charters again, and those beings that some of us, their lifetime contactees, encounter every 7 years. I think you have too. But and how that they feel like, you know, nothing about them, Jessica, when I say, are you an alien? Are you extraterrestrial? It's not like that. They feel like humans, people like you and I, maybe about 2,000-3,000 years in the future, 4,000. What will we be like if we don't annihilate ourselves and we go the other route and really start advancing? What will we be like as a species before we evolve into the next container for our consciousness? And dealing with what I've gathered, working with you and also other ways, I think the next evolution for us will be high energy plasma. Same that's making the crop circles. That's what I believe. That's never here nor there. But before we evolve into that, what are we like as a species just before that? Their energy feels like that, Jessica. You know, when I met one, I had to get past the fact that this charter she was so physically attractive, and I was only 21, so me mind was going in the gutter, okay? But then when I start seeing she's reading me, you know, telling me things like, you know, I'm just sitting there and then look kind of checking out, and she starts looking, you know, when you stop being such a Gemini and transmute that kinetic energy into one thing, you'll be like unstoppable. She had stuff, and I said, I never told this woman I was a Gemini. I say nothing like, what? I said, well, she's reading me. So I put up a shield. I wasn't partied or nothing, so I shielded out. And my shields work. They block things. And you know, this woman, she's talking to somebody else, she turns around, looks at me, and she goes like this with her hair and flips it and goes like that and crashed through my shields and started reading me again.
Uh-oh.
I was like, whoa. She's a much stronger telepath than me. You know what I mean? It was disconcerting a bit, but I was unaware that I was possibly in the presence of one of these. I was in the presence of one of these charters. And was this somebody from an inner earth lineage? And you hear about these inner earth women that are melanin dominant that have this this pheromone they emit. Kind of like the dolmen. For those of you that jump on me for referencing entertainment, like the dolmen of a lass from the original Star Trek. She emits some sort of pheromone, and so did the
Barry, I gotta ask, was Orgone involved? I'm just kidding. Orgone.
You get us in trouble. No, she had on some dilithium crystals, actually. Cool power source, though, right? I think there was another one on the Next Generation called a Metamorph. She was emitting some sort of a pheromone, too, that was knocking cats out. You know what I mean? So, at least sexually, anyway. So, I mean, but this woman was emitting that type of a deal. And like I said, I was young, man, so my mind was in a different place. And it was just interesting when dealing with that. And again, this is somebody that came within the 7 years. Every 7 years, I would meet one of these individuals. And for the record, one of my 7th years was when I went to that ranch out there and got literally nearly harassed by this Sasquatch out there. I mean and I think that was another charter for me. I really do. You know, so food for thought again, okay? And, you know, like I said, when I first came forward, I took a lot of stones and sticks and all that. But One thing was when I talked about the charters, I got so many emails about that. And people saying, I met somebody like that. And like I said, they come out of Jessica like when you're in an airport, a bookstore, a public place with a lot of people normally. They come out of the crowd and they come up to you and they say, hey, are you such and such? For you, it'll be easy now because, I watch some of your shows. And they just say a couple of things that are just heavy. And you're like, whoa, it kind of stops your world for a second. And then they're, okay, see you later. And they're gone back in the crowd. You don't know who they were, where they come from, where they went. But it changed your perception, your consciousness, as far as it pushed you forward. Kind of like that orb station out in Mount Adams. Something about that thing, it emits that orb. It might be microscopic that gets in our biofield, but it pushes our perception forward. Next thing you're seeing UFOs or seeing Sasquatch walking across the field, it just disappeared. These are things that influence our perception, our consciousness. Things that are devices and perception things that still exist from when we were type 1 civilization, type 2. That stuff's got to come back. We got to get back as part of galactic trade and not be slaves in high rises.
Mid-rises.
Mid-rises, sorry, I don't know what that is.
I don't know. That's what I wrote down. I'll never forget that. Yeah. High rises and mid-rises, I think. Yeah. I used to live in I lived in apartments all over Atlanta for a long time. And I would move every couple of years or so and go to, because, I got to go where the cool kids are at, so I'd go all over the different areas of Atlanta. So
hey, does that underground mall still exist there?
No, Underground Atlanta, I don't know. I think they actually might have turned it. It's called Underground Atlanta. And for a while when I lived there, it wasn't really safe to go down there very often. It was right in my college. I went to Georgia State University, and it's downtown Atlanta. And I worked downtown as well.
Was one of the coolest things I've been to. I thought it was really neat.
It was fun. I mean, it's had its heyday. I think that they have I want to say, what do you call it? Regentrification or something. Like they have put restaurants and clubs and stuff down there again. But for a while, there wasn't really anything down there for a while. I used to go get lunch there occasionally. They have a food court.
Of course, I'm talking like it was yesterday. That was 1992. When
I know. I'm talking about the 90s as well, Barry. Okay.
Cool.
The 2000s. Yeah, early 2000s. Today, I don't know. I haven't been down there in a long time, so I don't know. But yeah, Atlanta has quite the underground. They literally have a place called Underground Atlanta, and it is a place where they had a lot of restaurants and bars and shops and stuff like that. It's not like San Antonio, like the river walks, like all underground. It's really cool.
I didn't heard of that river. Really,
very downtown Atlanta-ish down there. It's very urban, like just shops and stuff. Very city, like it's like New York City or something, kind of. You know what I mean? It's
interesting. Mm-hmm.
It's different, yeah, for Atlanta. So, but nonetheless.
And somewhere else I went?
Where?
Stone Mountain. We'll talk about that another time.
Oh, I bet you love that.
Weird energy on Stone Mountain. That's an odd place.
You did. I know. It's got like the Confederate soldiers carved into the side of the mountain. So, yeah, it actually was a cool place because they would have a laser show there on the weekends. And when I was a kid, we went and saw the laser show, and they play the laser show on the side of the mountain right there. It's actually really cool. But it's just a huge chunk of rock. It's a big mountain coming out of the
weird vibe
the land.
to it.
It is a strange vibe a little bit. It's actually a pretty cool nature walk, and they've got hiking trails and stuff. And you can actually hike up to the top of the mountain.
Just slide off of it. I didn't like that.
No, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. But it's a historical landmark in Atlanta. It's right outside of Atlanta, like going east, I think, northeast kind of out of Atlanta. Yeah, I hadn't been there in a while. It's too darn hot to be going outside anywhere in Atlanta right now.
It's pretty hot here today, too. It's very hot.
It's gross. We're going to have like 100 plus temperatures all week this week in Georgia.
Is it real humid down there like it is in Orlando? Yes. I got to tell you, when I went to go speak in Orlando, I swear to you, I was dehydrated before I got out of the Uber at the hotel. That place is so humid. I don't see how anybody could live there for years like that. Everybody comes, you'll get used to it eventually. They said, where you're from, it just doesn't get hot. I said, where I'm from, we get 3 digits all the time in the summer. But it's not humid like this. It's different. They cut that humidity with a knife down there.
Yeah. It's really rough. I actually had a hard time. It's hard to breathe when you go out there, and from a lady who loves to be out in nature and stuff, you can't. There's sometimes you just have to stay inside. Close the curtains, pull the curtains shut, and close the blinds. Turn on the AC and just sit. Don't go get on your computer days like this and just.
Makes you curious about the cooling system that those Sasquatch have with the hair, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You got that much hair on you out there.
Yes. Well, it's just like with dogs. I think some dogs are, that's actually like an insulation on them that kind of helps them keep cooled off with their hair and stuff. So I don't know, man. I had a really interesting show last Saturday with Cryptidville. Mark Maychek came on with me, and we talked about the hunters that have gone missing. And it was the same morning that you had sent me that link to David Politis with the water deaths. I think that was on Saturday, or that was Friday. And we did the show on Friday night with the hunters that had been found out. We were making the connection to Dogman.
Okay, so tell me. Okay, here we
know it's off topic.
We can talk about anything. Why not? Hey, look, what did you think about that? That was so impactful. That's why I sent that to you that late like that. And especially because you had when you remote viewed those 2 targets for the missing 411s. And by the way, thanks for putting that back up about a week ago. That was cool.
Yes,
but
it's important.
Yeah. And one of the targets was the water deaths themselves. And what was so interesting about that one that he just did was that I was aware mostly that the water deaths I had focused on were campers and hikers. And I'd heard about the Manchester pusher in the canals there. But I didn't associate these cases with bars, college bars near large places of large water. That was fascinating. And then when he started saying that some of these coroners, I was very aware of the GHB factor, that some of these bodies that were recovered in the water, we talked about all that on the show, but that they have like 25 times the amount of GHB they could have got at a club. I didn't realize some of them was at clubs or bars, but when you've got these coroners saying that it's so unusual that they think that some type of an entity has found the ability to switch on the body's natural ability to make GHB, which we do have. We've got GHB in our body in like real small amounts, but they found a way to completely trigger that to where it just overflows the body so that the person becomes completely inert. And then they get dropped or whatever happens during this, rematerialized in water, and they just drown because they can't move. But when just that concept alone of a species, because we know through the viewing you did, we're dealing with organizations, species of organizations, different ones that are working together. And that's one of the things they've been doing chemically to us, is finding out how to induce huge amounts of GHB naturally in our bodies to where it completely disables us. And that takes us into the whole premises also of missing time also.
Yes.
Anyway, sorry.
That's something that I think that is important that we actually do talk about, is that David Politis said that the scientist or the coroner, whoever it was he had talked to, said that an entity had figured out how to make human bodies release those large amounts of GHB. Okay, that really blew my mind right there, Barry. And I was super impressed that you caught that and sent that to me, because what on earth? I mean, we've got coroners that are like, there's no way, it wasn't like, unless they were injected with something, but they were saying, no, it was an entity has figured out how to make humans release that large amount of GHB into their system, and then their bodies are found. That is just mind-blowing right there.
And I want to reiterate on this, okay? That you again, you had no idea what you're looking at. I sent you a bunch of targets. I was being kind of little dick-like, excuse me, kind of little pricky about it. Oh, that's no better.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to be like that. I was telling my brother, I said, I was kind of doing Jessica like, you remember Menace to Society? Do you remember that movie?
Oh, I love that movie.
You remember when he got interrogated by the brother that wrote Good Times and played Mac? He's in the commando, and then Predator also. I'm having some fun. That brother, but he came in and interrogated him. He sat there, so you know you messed up. I was kind of on you like that about every target, all the data, but you know why now? It was so important, and it made it so detailed and so concise. I thought it was really important, you know. But one thing you had said undeniably, and several of them were these laboratories you described, and the data was quite descriptive of what was happening in them and going on. And I want to go back to this and say this again for everybody. If you look at it, and it wasn't one of the interviews that Credo Mutua did with David Icke, Icky, Wikipedia, whatever. It was not one of those. All right. It was another one where he talked about him being abducted by mandingos, and the mandingos he describes as being grays, and they call them that because it means like the tormentor of humanity or something.
Oh man.
Yeah, and really? He said he's the one saying that. He said it's because they're from the future, they're from Earth. That's why some of them walk around without uniforms or anything on. They're from here. And he started saying how he got abducted and he's in this laboratory with other people. And he's describing just like your data. And he's saying, he said these beings that are doing these experiments, and it's a typical abduction type of experiments we hear about, the painful ones. And he's saying, although there's some sort of emotion coming off them, he said it was like one of pleasure, like they were enjoying torturing people. Oh. And then when he gets put back down or dropped or however they did it, he's naked, but he's got certain garments, but his boots are gone. And the things he's describing is the things that David says that they find at these places. Okay, like especially one of the more odd ones, like the boots and the calcium deposits and things like that. But Credo's describing that, and he's saying how he's walking around between villages, he's just completely out of it. And so people came and helped him and like nursed him back. He also described, I believe, this type of an ash that he had from being in that environment and being from these beings, some type of a residue on him or something that had to be washed off. So I'm just saying, but what he went through fit, not just David Pilates' descriptions as well. I mean, criteria for the clusters. Sorry, criteria, bad word. But it matched your data. I mean, you can't just make that stuff up.
No, these are blind targets. I'm given a set of 8 numbers, y'all. That's it. And yes, Barry, you did put me under the microscope with those ones and had me. Remember, I was sick for like 2 weeks after those targets. I was spent, but you know, it was all worth it because that's what I do this for. Okay, that's why we're doing this. We're trying to figure out what's really going on, and not knowing what those targets were, and I just kept having to go back in. I was like, dang, this sucks. This really sucks. What are you doing this for? Why are you torturing me? You know, but I had no idea the impact that it was going to have. As far as us getting this data and then it lining up with what David Pilates has been researching and getting interviews from people and stuff. And I kept telling you, I was like, there's kidnapping, there are people being taken underground to a facility. It's like Fort Knox or the Vatican. Like, I feel like I'm under the Vatican or the Smithsonian or something. And people are being experimented on and then disposed of.
You know, I'm going to throw this in there, okay? Since I've already been kind of laughed at for all my references this episode. So
just Sug Knight, that's the only one.
No, I mean like just movie references. I think I was saying Sug Knight at first, but it was still incorrect. But it was not nightly. It was not nightly, I promise you.
It just made me, I just heard that. That was my
fault. Oh gosh, what was I saying now? So you just wiped my mind, man.
No, that mind wipe was part of the data actually too. That was in my data.
I know. In seriousness to everybody, just so everybody knows, I try all these. We've done like 80 of those now, and I try to never give you negative things. The only time I have is that one. That was a risky, or ones that could be dangerous for you. That one was, and the other one was the Catskill doll. What was it called again?
Oh, the Crone of the Catskills.
The Crone. Yeah, that wasn't a good one either. But outside of that, we normally try to do more upbeat, cool stuff. They might not always turn out that way data-wise, but it's not, you know what I mean? I don't want people to think that I'm throwing you a bunch of like demonic or negative stuff. Aleister
No.
Crowley stuff or something that's going to get you in trouble. It's not like that.
I know how to protect myself.
I know.
You know.
Still, as a friend, though, it would be not cool if I did that, though. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that. But you know, this is something that we talk about repeatedly, or the missing persons clusters out of our national parks, and so I think that was, you know, and this is something that could affect potentially all of us, everybody, our everyday lives. So
you know, when you reposted that, it seemed like it came up on a different feed on your channel or something. So it was a totally different chat on there or something. And I
was
got on there
live
afterwards and looked, and you had somebody on there that said they live in Nevada, and it was like not. Oh, they said they were from Art Bell, where he did the thing, Pahrump. They said they grew up in Pahrump, Nevada, and that there was a submarine base under there. And
that's
they
right. I
mentioned
saw that.
And so you said that there was the one, wherever you said the other one was. I mean, they said a couple of things. It was just real heavy, though. I was like, whoa. You know what I mean? That's So, I mean, so it's not just BS by any stretch.
Well,
but I mean,
knew
stuff like that messed me up. And you were connecting that with underneath the Vatican, right?
Yes, wherever these people were being taken, yes. And it turns out, and it's really interesting because a good friend of mine, who he's never been on my show or anything. I don't think he'll ever go public, but I have behind the scenes conversations with this person, and he comes in my chat sometimes. But he part of what he's done is like managed building some of these underground facilities, government contractor stuff, like managing government contractor, I believe, and he has a lot of knowledge on bases and things like that, because he's worked on a lot of them, but submarine bases in the middle of places like Nevada. And he's even told me stuff about Pyramid Lake. You know, they talk about how the bodies, if you just think about it, like all these bodies are like, people are going missing and drowning at a Pyramid Lake, and they're ending up in Lake Tahoe. Okay. Well, it's because there's like underground aquifer systems and stuff, you know, and it's sucking all the bodies are like getting sucked down and like coming out in another lake, or either it's vice versa and they're drowning in Tahoe and coming out in Pyramid. I don't know. But anyways, nonetheless, he was sending me some pictures of like bases of, like, I think it was like submarine bases in the desert. I was like, how on earth are there submarine bases in the desert? That doesn't make any sense. Well, here we go with that data for all those missing people. They're being taken somewhere by submarines. And then we get like this information about that island where all those elites were going. They were doing some kind of trafficking out there. They were discussing how the people were being taken in by submarine to that island, the children and whoever else. They had that one woman who's in jail right now, if y'all know who I'm talking about, had like a submarine. She was like taking their submarine and like transporting people in her submarine to that island. Okay.
You know, that takes us all into things like, what is it, 20,000 Leagues Nemo. It's kind of almost, I mean, it's not so preposterous, is it? And look, in all honesty, look, hey, man, I didn't know there was no submarine bases in the desert. I had no idea. That was news to me, right? Completely. You know what I mean? Yeah, because when you got the data and I looked it up and started finding it was real. I was like, whoa. You know what I mean? Yeah. Stuff like that. I'm like, man, okay, another deal where in a little over my head, but that's all right.
Well, submarines are obviously connected to trafficking in some way. It is what it is. And that was in the data. So, that's interesting. M13 says, Daryl James talks about the submarine. Daryl's coming back on the show, y'all. I'll call him today. Daryl talks about the submarines from firsthand perspective. He has been on with Jessica. Yes, he has. And he's planning on coming back, actually, too. He's had some more memory recall when it comes to reptilians and stuff. So we're going to talk about that. Maybe we'll talk about the submarines as well. I think that's important. This is all connected. Okay. It's all connected. I still bring that up. That's one of the main things that I like to discuss when I speak publicly about the cryptids and whatever I give my presentations on. I always bring up the missing people and the clusters. Barry, I talk about that data.
Right there, that comment. You know something interesting when you look into missing 411, he makes comments on like how, you know, when you look at that map, like down almost the Midwest, those states hardly have any, they don't have any clusters or anything. And he said he thought that was, yeah, there you go. He said that was because he thought like the United States' biggest aquifer runs through there. And he thought for some reason that had something to do why there was no clusters in those states.
Wow.
I mean, I can't go too detailed. Everybody have to look it up or find the one where he's talking about that. But I've heard him mention that before, the name of the aquifer and how it goes in several of these states, and that's why you don't see any of those. I find that fascinating, you know. And maybe did he mention the lack of granite? Not a lot of granite in those areas too, or something like that. Anyway, so that's stuff for people to look up. I don't want to go out.
Well, that's interesting because that's what we have our cryptids. I do all of our research. I do my research. I'm going to speak for myself here. Where I do my research, we have a lot of veins of quartz, lots of quartz, and those are places of high strangeness. So there's some kind of connection. That's interesting, though. Yeah, there is a line straight through the country right there, with no missing persons clusters. It looks like you're safe.
Somebody told me, Barry, those are boring states. No, it is not.
That's where you live. You live right there in the middle.
Yeah, I do.
Hey, sometimes it's good to be boring.
They said my town was the second most boring in the United States. It was all over the internet. I was like, God, who the hell was here? They didn't say some crap like that, man.
They've never been to your private club.
Central Station. But it's it's not that boring, man.
If you think it's that boring, y'all go hang out with Barry. Barry knows how to party, y'all.
I'll say this. I live in the air capital of the world. And that's when you look that up, the air capital of the world. All the aircraft industries came out of here. We've got a huge military base just on the side of our town here. So I looked into all that type of stuff. Did they get me? Is that why I'm having experiences? Why am I part of Carla Turner's crew that got the VRST, virtual reality, because they got me? Is that why there's some missing time with my experiences? Did the military get me?
Yeah.
Did I get screen memories? Let me learn about that. Break through it and find out how to deal with that. Do I have screen memories? All these things I dealt with way long ago, okay, in depth. That's why I get a little touchy when people start saying, oh, you were part of DARPA, you just can't accept it. No, I was not. You can't just put me into being what you want me to be. It doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? If I was, hey, I would tell you, hey, I got jacked. I would tell you in automatic. You know what I mean? I'm not going to lie. But we've got too many of us that have too many different experiences. We have to weave all this together. You know what I mean? And find out what point is it they're exposing us to neuroweaponry and hive mind technology that's really advanced right now from other civilizations versus how many of us are having natural physical encounters like me. You know, like when I first met Ray Hernandez, we were talking his whole deal. He kept saying how the physical encounters like I had were so rare. And I don't think they are. Now I'm looking at some of the work that Preston Dennon is doing, and amazing how he's never invited to any of these disclosure places. He's got more information than anybody. The guy's written like 40 books. Yeah. And he was talking recently about how actually common physical encounters on board crafts are. Not just energetic or spiritually dreamed, but physical. They're much more common than thinking. He's done probably thousands of cases. I don't know, a bunch. So, I mean, that's important, but that's stuff that isn't coming to light that I just heard. Because I've always said there's nothing special about me. I wish I could say I'm a cool brother. Well, I'm a little bit cool, but not that cool. But I mean, you know, not enough to where I would have these experiences like I have. And I knew it's happened to a bunch of people. It couldn't just be me. And now I'm able to prove that more in the little platform I have. I've got to talk to a lot of people. And I know I was telling Ray, I said, that's not right. There are other people like me. I don't think it's nearly as uncommon as you say, you know? Like some of us didn't get chickenpox till we were adults. I was one of those people.
Oh God, that's
I was like 33. I was 33 when I got chickenpox, man. Oh Lord, that was a pits. Yeah. And the German measles too. I got that about 33, 34. I don't know. When I was a kid, I never got sick on hardly anything.
Gosh.
Yeah,
Man, I got chickenpox with my sister.
Into like from kindergarten to junior high, I never missed a day of school because I never got sick.
Oh my God.
But then when I'm an adult, I start catching stuff from these young clients, passing stuff around these facilities, like chicken pox. Never forget, I went home, get home and watch some Smallville on Thursday night. I got home and I kept going like that. And, right the middle of Smallville, silly, and my hand was wet. Pulled off my shirt and these red spots. I said, you kidding me? We had one kid in the facility that had chicken pox. Oh, man. Then the doctor starts telling me, oh, you're in your 30s, you could go sterile. I was like, oh, hey, I don't want to have kids. I'm not trying to just get blanks from the chicken pox. Anyway, sorry.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, they say it's worse when you're older when you get them. So it's good to
I tell you,
go ahead and get them as a kid.
It's a drag. Those things itch bad. And if you can't scratch them because they pop or whatever, that stuff sucks, man.
You probably got PTSD when we were in Grafton, Illinois. Remember those bug bites we all got?
Oh, those were terrible. Yeah, terrible. I still have nightmares about the black flies. That's what scientifically called black flies. But what did that gentleman call them? The guy looked like Yosemite Sam kind of. What did he call them?
I don't know.
Not horse. They weren't horse flies. He called them something, and they come off the
scars on my legs. I still have scars on my legs from that trip, actually, from the bug bites and stuff. And I get out in the field a lot. I joke around about. I'm not joking. I actually do. And anytime I come home from, being out in the woods, I have ticks. Like the ticks are so bad this year. And this past week, I actually had 2 that crawled out of. I was eating dinner and I had a tick that crawled out of my hair on my forehead, and I was like, oh gosh. And then another one came out, and I was like, all right, great. Okay, let me go take a shower.
Off anything? Like stuff off? I don't off steak or anything like that to keep that stuff off when you're out there.
It depends. Sometimes I do. Yeah, I didn't know they were going to be that bad, or I would have. And,
you could get some yellow spotted
off my dogs.
fever mountain. Yeah. Yellow spotted mountain fever? Is that what they call it?
No, I'm not going to get that. I've been bitten so many times by so many things. I'm immune to everything at this point. Yeah. I've been bitten.
I don't like no bites. I don't like mosquitoes.
Really?
I think they come straight from HE double hockey sticks. I can't stand mosquitoes. I don't like gnats. I don't like any of those biting creatures, man. Get them out.
Hey, it's a part of being a field researcher. I'm gonna get bugs all over me. Okay, so I'm a country girl, Barry. I grew up on a farm. I'm cool. I'm okay with bugs.
I really hate chiggers. I don't like their name because it almost sounds racial. I don't like what they do. I tell you, when I had my great experience that I've talked about, where I saw out it was a field in the big hills, in the Flint Hills, and it was a place of open range only. I never seen anything like that. Okay, but there's this school out there, like a school and a church right next to it. Just the middle of nowhere. And the grass is pretty high, except for around the school itself. I'm staying there with my brother, and when I got done being traumatized by the fact that these chiggers were blowing in the wind, and they barreled all through me. They were on my testicular. Are you kidding me? It was horrible. But after that, I started seeing these things that my Native American friends had called wisps. And they look like these fireflies, but you know how a firefly just has the bottom of their tails lit up? Mm-hmm. These things, most of the fireflies where I live their bioluminescence is green. These were blue. And they didn't flicker on and off like a mating signal. They stayed on for like maybe 3 seconds or more each before they went off. And these things were big. When I say that, the bioluminescence I was seeing was about that big. Almost the size of this rock.
They're probably robots. Robots.
I started tripping. I started seeing. I kept telling my brother, I was like, "Man, are you seeing these?" And they were like, you could see like normal fireflies, but these were intermittent in there. And then they started all swarming and going into this tree, this older tree. And I kept telling my brother, "Are you seeing this?" And he said, "B man, you're tripping on those fires. You're tripping out, man." I said, "No, you don't know. You're not perceiving this." I was drinking some beer and stuff, maybe a couple of shots, but we weren't like doing hardcore drugs or nothing. Not to where I'm be seeing what I thought might even be like fairies of some type. But they had to be insects, but I couldn't get a look at them outside the bioluminescence. It was so dark, But nonetheless, it was one of those things that just really pushed me forward when dealing with fireflies. All to the point of where when I had years later, second experience of missing time. I'm sorry, before that actually, and we're trying to hope to get some ships to manifest, and nothing's happening, but all these fireflies are going crazy. And when I say that, you've got like the females don't really fly as much. They kind of crawl up on the trees and flash, and the males are one flying. So we've got trees out there going boom, boom, boom. You look at the Amazon, you see that the trees are like lighting up, like almost rhythm. And then you've got just hundreds of males flying around. And then the light ship comes after that, but they're getting really active. That's why I said I don't care what anybody says. I can only speak from my personal experiences that fireflies are very aware of the light ships. Some of them anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Some types of light ships. And that took me further to when I met your fellow remote viewer, John Vivinko, right hemispheric remote viewing. He did a thing on fireflies that he had his team look at from the Brazilian rainforest, some portion of it. And what he was saying was fascinating, and the evidence, the stuff they got, and what his team had found out was that these very bizarre fireflies were manifesting here, or being seen, because there was another type of firefly that they say they're extradimensional, interdimensional, a colony they had put here, and it was in the rainforest, and those forest fires that happened destroyed them, eradicated that species, and these others are coming here to see what happened to their progeny. And that's what was going on with this community, and these certain fireflies are very odd. Taking that a step forward, I have a friend. When we graduated high school, he went immediately to the Israeli army, and caught really bad PTSD. And when he came back, he came to town, and I've known this cat since kindergarten, so we know each other forever. His family taught me how to spin like dreidels. They're Jewish. Anyway, so it's cool. I like meeting other cultures, other people. I think it's fun, and the best way to do that is share some food. You'll all get to talking.
Yes. And I like to eat. So yeah. That's my
eat the food of another culture. If you can handle it, if it's cool. It's really a great way to get to know each other. Anyway, point being, he came back to town, and we went for a walk. And two things he wanted to talk about. One of them, he gave me a copy of that Cryptoterrestrials book. This is like 2011, okay?
Oh, wow.
And then he starts telling me him and his friend. And when he came back to the United States with PTSD, he started just walking. And he's doing what David Pauletti says never do. He's walking all over the place, like the Three Sisters of Oregon by himself. He's doing all that stuff.
Dangerous.
When he told me, Jessica, he said, I came across one place that was so creepy, I couldn't stay there. I said, what's that? And he said it was Crater Lake. And it was Crater Lake somewhere in the Three Sisters, I believe. He showed me a picture of it on GPS. He said, man, that place, it was horrible, man. He said, I got out of there as quick as I could. And we were supposed to stay the night there. He said, I said, no way. Anyway, point being, he had described walking somewhere around Lake Erie. And he said that there's a lot of woods. It's a lot of forest around Lake Erie, I believe it was. And he said at some point there, him and his friend see this craft, and it seems like in distress, this UFO. It's hovering out there. It looks like it's distressed or something, like maybe even malfunctioning. And then after that, these jets come up and start flying by whereas, and it finally disappears when these jets come up. He's very descriptive. And he's talking, I'm asking him certain questions. He's saying, well, I'm not fully sure. I kept getting distracted. I said, how could you be distracted from something like that? You know what he says?
Wow.
We said, Mario, the other one of these trees way at the top, there were these fireflies up there. They were making this odd sound, and they were big, and they were really bright. And he kept saying that their light kept staying on, and they were buzzing on this tree up here, and it was so loud that my friend and I kept looking over at them. And then we look back and see everything going on.
Distraction.
I let him finish up, and I say something to him. I say, well, David, man, did you think that maybe possibly you were seeing a ship in distress or maybe a ship on a mission, and those fireflies you were seeing were the crew doing something that had to do with the tree biologically, whether it be repair or energy or whatever? And Jessica, he stopped and just looked at me with his mouth open. He's a pretty sharp cat too. And he's like, what? He goes, he goes, I think you're right. Doesn't matter what I say, but it's just something that we should look at. You should look at. So when dealing with the different species that might be in some of these craft, or be in communion with light ships that are organisms themselves capable of bioluminescence or chemical luminescence, whatever,
Yeah.
Just again, food for thought for everybody. I don't want to talk too much there. Sorry.
No, that's fantastic. And connecting the dots. And I remember the last time that our good friend Tim, who passed away, one of the gentlemen that was on my team, he's one of the guys who had walked into the portal. The last time that we ever went to the meadow with him, we had a big expedition, and we had gone out there. That was the same night that I'd heard my voice say, "Time travel," from across the creek. Okay. That same exact night, actually. We got out to the meadow after we hiked in, and the whole team came out, and it was a beautiful, clear night. But the one thing that we will never forget were the fireflies. There were fireflies all over that place. It was inundated in fireflies. They were everywhere. We did a CE5. We did a CE5 protocol thing. I'm not a huge fan of those. Okay, actually quite boring, to be honest with you. It's not my cup of tea, but we did it. And but the whole time we were out there, the fireflies were thick. Okay, I'd never seen so many in my life. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So we have a good memory. Okay, we have good memories of that last time we had Tim out there. But however, it's something to note, because we have a lot of ET activity out there and a lot of UFO activity out there at the meadow. And the portal. Somebody in the chat, Rose Thistle Artworks, had said portals. And we had our portal incident.
Something I'll just comment on real quick. Somebody in your chat there said something about bioluminescent being crystalline light technology. Look, when I've been on board these craft, okay, I've been on board this craft, and this one, like I said, and I used to think this was like an engine. Now I think it's much more of a brain. This is done by Christine Dennett before we had so much AI in our pictures like we do now. But this thing was huge, okay? I mentioned before that these crystals they were taller than a basketball goal. I put them about 10 feet tall and about maybe almost 3 feet wide each. This thing was huge. And the one thing that Christine didn't put on here that was there was the bioluminescent color each one of them had. Okay, it was emitting some type of a chemical luminescence or bioluminescence. I don't know, but it was light, definitely. And it wasn't just piezoelectric, okay? And when this thing started spinning, it started spinning so fast I couldn't see them anymore. It started producing that hum. And that's when the being that was on the side there, the insectoid, I put in my mind, that sound, what you're feeling and hearing is just it doesn't just power ships and power. I got Legion ships, like small planetoids. It also heals human flesh. It heals and can heal human flesh. That's what I got. So when dealing with something like that with the chemical luminescence, that's why I know there's a connection in all that. Beings that can produce chemical luminescence, that can produce bioluminescence. I think that takes us also into astrospeleology, which starts dealing with places like Titan and Europa. What in the caves there do you have? What type of extremophiles, like we have here on Earth, that can survive during the thermal vents, like in the Mariana Trench and places like that? The Yeti crab, some of you have talked about before. Mm-hmm. And that's a fascinating creature. Those white little microscopic almost crabs that exist on the vents, and they actually, how they feed is the hair on them gets like the bacteria that comes out of the vent. That's how they feed.
What?
Yeah. They call it Yeti crabs. Yeah, there's a lot of those files that are down there that we found on Earth that could exist. That breathe that are existing in phosphorines and things like that would exist on these other planets. That's why astrospeleology, like I said, is really cool, what those people talk about, but it's not fancy, so it never gets in the cool magazines. You got to kind of know what to look for. you know?
Yeah. The Speleological Society, isn't that like cave divers and things like that? That's caves. That deals with the caves.
Yeah.
So
They always get irritated. We're not spelunkers.
yeah, that's what Craig says. Yeah, Craig, one of my teammates. Shout out to Craig Jackson. Craig says he's not a. What do you say? There's a difference. He doesn't go spelunking. Yeah, he does like cave rescues and stuff like that.
Oh wow!
And,
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
that is something I would. Oh man, I don't know if I can do that.
Man, I'm sorry.
I don't
hey,
know
must
about
respect everybody that does that.
Yeah.
I'm not going down there.
Oh,
I'm saying, that cave in Missouri is about the only one I'm gonna go through. The tourist cave. That's about it. I mean, no disrespect anyone, but that's serious work. But the stuff they talk about is just fascinating, especially the speologies. You know, when they start talking about some of those caverns that have all these waterfalls, and you go deeper, and there's another one like these caverns and things that are almost fantastical to us in terms of things like Beauty and the Beast. I used to love that show with Ron Perlman and Linda Hamilton, Terminator Lady. But that dealt with the society that was in the tunnels of New York. And there is really hundreds of miles of tunnels underneath New York that go way back to
Probably. I'm
1700s
sure.
or something?
I don't know. There's tons of miles of tunnels everywhere, Barry. Repurposed tunnels, I think. I think they've been here for way longer.
With a bunch of big old rats.
And lizard people.
And chud, right? Some chud.
Yeah.
Human underground dwellers.
Yeah, sounds like a party. Sounds like a party. We should go check it out. We should put on our helmets and headlamps and go down there, Barry, sometime. We should broadcast live from the underground tunnels of New York with the lizard people. I don't know. It's actually L.A. L.A.'s got the lizard people tunnels.
Yes, L.A. Right? Yeah.
Norse out there. And I'm sure
my brother got a kick out of that. He stayed in LA probably 15 years. He got a kick out of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, did he get to see? You told him about the underground lizard people city?
Yeah.
What did he say about it?
No
Does
comment.
he believe in all this stuff?
No comment. And he's an experiencer for what it's worth. He's an experiencer for what it's worth. But yeah, no, he got a kick out of it. That's all I'll say.
Oh, he did. I think.
He tends to focus more on the depravity part and the Skid Row and things he's seeing there. That's really, really bad. Yeah.
Yeah. That. In case anybody's wondering what we're talking about, CHUD is an acronym. Okay. So,
and not Bud the Chud. That was a terrible movie. I think I turned that one off. Chud 2, Bud the Chud. Oh, that was corny. Terrible. But the first one was pretty interesting,
We also have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that live in the underground sewers of New York as well. And thank you, Maureen. That's right. I used to watch that with my brother. And now my son. My son was really big into the TMNT. Okay. And where they do show multiverses, Barry, it's another one of those commercials, cartoons like Spider-Man, where they actually show the multiverse. And they experience themselves experiencing other versions of themselves throughout the cartoon, which is weird, through interdimensional travel and things like that. So, disclosure.
As I was turned on to by some of my family members, my cousins, this has been years ago. On YouTube, it used to be on there. You got the Ninja Turtles and you got the other N-word turtles. And it's ethnic, okay? And the way they're all kind of described as being more brothers than the ones we're familiar with. It's just very interesting when you start dealing with Black genius and that type of creation. It's seriously, I remember when they told me about it, we were sitting around. I said, there ain't no name that. Yes, it is. Look it up. So I got on YouTube, typed it in. There it was, the Internals. And it's about 5 or 6 of them. And man, it's entertaining. And it's genius.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, I know.
I never heard of that.
Here you go look it up. And you
I didn't know what you're talking about. I think I do.
You do? Oh, you do.
No, I don't. I said, I think I do. I don't know.
It's an N-word.
Look that up.
It's inappropriate. It's a racial word. N-word.
Oh yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna look that one.
Those turtles. Okay. But it's made by ethnic people. It's a spoof, but it's funny as all get out. And it's quite it's good. Yeah. Somebody in there go look it up as soon as we get done. Watch. Unless they take it off YouTube. I don't know how that one did get canceled.
I know. Don't let Barry get y'all in trouble now. Okay, y'all don't let Barry get in trouble. Oh man, I just remember like Michelangelo. They're surfer dudes, man. They like to surf. They surf the sewers, I guess, down there. And Cowabunga, dude. Okay.
Yeah, but they're right. That was again, nuclear deal. Now taking the joke out of it, just so we can pull more stuff together. All right.
Right.
You and I have talked about the black-eyed children we used to, and very little that I told you was inaccurate in terms of what I said, that they weren't going to be seen much more. That was going to fall off and become more of an urban legend, and it did it not? And I thought that they were a warning system, not that they were these gray overlays and all these other things. I think that they're basically what you and I would call the garbage pail kids, which was what the answer to the Cabbage Patch Dolls. But those cars didn't stay around very long because what? They were like that. There was a movie, Class of Nukem High. They were like those kids. You remember that one. Somebody out there remembers that corny movie. It was called Class of Nukem High, probably about 1987. And they were like what I think the Garbage Pails kids are supposed to be. They were these kids that survived a nuclear holocaust. And the Garbage Pail kids, they were all mutated because of that. But I think in reality, when dealing with the black-eyed children, I think they're a warning system that I believe was produced by Earth. Okay. And they're these kids that have been exposed to that radiation. They've seen that. I think it's turned their eyes black. And again, I base that too on some of the people that say their kid or them actually touched one or got way too close to one or let one in. And they always describe afterwards having this type of a terrible sickness that, if you look it up, sounds very much like radiation poisoning.
Radiation poisoning.
And that would be something these kids would be admitting. And I think, I think the fact that they're asked to come in and all that has the kind of Dracula thing to it. But I think in reality, they're coming as a warning system. And that's why they generate that type of fear like that, because it's what they've seen and experienced. But I think that's separate from the black-eyed individual you experienced. I think that was some type of a demonic individual.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a matter of different types of black-eyed individuals, I guess.
Yeah. Man, I mean, that's a good way to look at it too. Yeah, what I saw did seem like I want to say like a watcher is what I want to say. Like somebody that was like almost like this person was being used. Do you know what I mean? Like the body was being used by something. It was taken over. Like that's kind of how the feeling that I get from that black-eyed man that was standing at my door. Like it was someone was not that he had like a remote control, wasn't like a robot grandma. I don't know, but was he? Maybe he was like a robot bum or something. I don't know. There's something. I don't think that he was on drugs, but he might have been. I don't know. Probably was. Maybe that's how people get taken over. You know what I mean?
Wow. Interesting, Chad. Somebody just talked about E.T. and getting gum with the cards. Man, I remember those days. You know what I used to get a lot of? I had the whole edition of the Incredible Hulk cards, and they make puzzles on the back, and also it came with gum. This gum that was so dry and so tough that only a kid could eat that because it'd break your teeth.
Didn't the gum? Hold on, I'm having flashbacks. Didn't the gum come with the Garbage Pail Kid packs too?
Yeah, I think so.
Pretty sure it did. Yeah, it was kind of not very tasty gum, but it was gum, and it smelled like bubble gum.
Just a little joke though in there. I remember Eddie Murphy when he was Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood on Saturday Night Live. He came in for Christmas. He's dressed up like Christmas, like Santa, and he's got this doll, and he takes the head of it off. And he takes a head of lettuce and sticks it on there. And he says, "Here, Cabbage Patch Dolls."
Oh, no.
I'm sorry.
Cabbage Patch Dolls.
He was dealing with that letter for that day was letter X. He was like, these are things that start with X. Ex-con. And then so the door starts knocking. This is his landlord. Robinson, get out here. Somebody sold my daughter a doll with lettuce on the head. And he said, oh, another thing which starts with X. X escape. He jumped out of the window.
Oh my
Anyway,
gosh.
sorry.
That's funny. Oh man, I'm just reading through the comments today before we see if there's anything, any questions or anything like that. We've got this has been a fantastic show today. It's been a lot of fun, Barry, and I think we've covered a lot of topics. And it's been too long, man. We're gonna have you back on Thursday night, right? We'll go over those 2 targets that you gave me.
You want me to answer that real quick?
Yeah, sure.
I can only speak of the ones I've been on board. Okay, the information they've given me. It's the 4 components that are made to actually grow the ships. Okay, you've got a quasi-crystal component. I just showed you those things that similar to quasi-crystals that were illuminated. You've got a quasi-crystal component. Okay, you've got also a fungal component or mycelium component. All right, then you've got metamaterials that are mined from planets that are devoid of Van Allen belts and often devoid of atmospheres. Those planets get hit with a type of solar radiation that is unheard here on Earth. So the metals have a much more resilience. Okay, and then you've got DNA crew from the crew members. These 3 things are made into a compound that are then grown over a micro wormhole, over a Mako. Okay, and that's why the engine itself is temporally displaced. Why sometimes the inside is bigger than the outside, Doctor Who type of stuff, transdimensional. Okay, but by the same token, you've got the symbiotic connection between the crew, not just DNA, but they're given their life energy, their kundalini, their orgone, to actually give the ship the power source. So they've got a symbiotic connection to it. The ships I've been on board are not like what I've heard these other people saying. I was flying and I was doing this and that. They probably were, but the one I was on, it's some type of a sentient creature that's probably 1 million years old. I don't know. But it don't need me to fly it, okay? In fact, I think that's a little rude for me even to try. To a point where I'm walking around these craft and I'm wondering, I'm so sick, but I'm not being escorted. They're with me, but not being escorted. And I'm wondering, why am I not being able to just move around like that? And the truth is, I'd think, well, maybe I could steal something or get something. I could prove this, but that's not really my nature. And I'm dealing with a craft that probably knew me when I had a different container for my consciousness, maybe several. We don't know how old these organisms are. Okay. So it knows my intent, period. Talking about the race memory, not just on the cellular memory, DNA for us, which goes so far back. It's so heavy, much heavier than we think, but also the DNA imprint on our soul matrix too, on our soul energy. It gets real heavy when you start dealing with some of these civilizations that are from other galaxies way beyond us when dealing with the creation of the cosmos and the creator. We don't get it all. I don't. But just food for thought. Anyway, I hope that answered their question a little bit. I can't speak for everybody's experiences, only what I've experienced.
Well, and the question was, we didn't read the question for the people who are listening on podcast platforms, and this is from Trey Madness. And the question originally was like, how are the crafts controlled consciously? Is that what the question was? I can't remember because I moved the comment. So, but anyways, that was the question.
There's some sharp people out there. That MS-13 person, they say really sharp stuff. Yeah. I can't see it all the time, but every stuff comes by. They're really sharp.
It's just M13. It's not the gang. It's the M13.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean that. I didn't mean it like that. Oh, sorry.
It's okay. There's no S there. Okay.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it's too silly.
In all fairness, okay. Somebody just mentioned David Adair. I can appreciate that. Look, before I ever came forward in 2014, I looked for years for anyone talking about organic craft, and I could not find it because I had experienced this. And finally, eventually, MOA showed up on that TV show, and before that, there was Tin Man on Star Trek: The Next Generation. But before Tin Man, I couldn't find anyone talking about these organic craft like I've been on board. I'd experienced this and nobody was talking about it. The only person I saw first, the one that came forward, was David Adair. And the symbiotic connection, he was talking about the craft he was on board, was different than what I had experienced, but still, it's in the same realm. You know what I mean? So I respect that. I think that's cool they brought that up.
Oh, man, that is very cool. That's very
But
cool.
now,
Thank you, Angelique.
now organic craft is like backhand talk now. Everybody's talking about it now, but nobody was before. You know what I'm saying? And I always say that because I was desperate to find more answers than I had, and I couldn't. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, though.
Well, like I said, you've been digging into this stuff for years, and you have a whole library over on your YouTube channel where you have been digging into this stuff and have videos and your researches there. If anybody wants to go check out Barry's YouTube channel, please go do that. It's Barry Littleton on YouTube and his Patreon as well, of course. And I guess to kind of close the show out today, ultimately, what do you think about our hostile alien spacecraft that's incoming? It should be around November when it gets here to Earth. Should we be worried, Barry?
Damn, we totally got away from that, didn't we? I'll
Okay,
take the heat for that. Yeah, we got away from that topic. My fault on that.
No, we both did.
I'll tell
We
you
started
what.
talking about Sug Knight and Sug Knight and all that other stuff. So
now you messed up my mind again. See, are you trying to wipe my mind? Yeah.
I'm doing mind. Why I want to do that? This Coogee mind tricks on you.
You know, yeah. I think what we said initially that that's a fear mongering thing. Now, could this be something sentient from outside of our solar system, a Bracewell probe or something? Absolutely. I'm not disqualifying that. But the fear mongering that's come from it from one individual and then amplified by the media, I think sucks. And we need to look scientifically more what it might be and find out more like who's trying to communicate with this thing. Like, for example, maybe you could take a look at it. You know what I mean? Just see what you get off of it. Of course, it'd be more fun if it's a blind target, but still. You know what I mean?
I can send it over to my team. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell them that. This is something that my team of remote viewers would love to get right here. You know, that's I don't know. Maybe I'll send it over one day. I don't know. Yeah, it's worth looking into though, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Let's figure out what this thing is. Why is it here? Who sent you? Okay, that's
you know. Real quick, something else. Star Trek original, there's an episode where Kirk loses his mind, okay? And then suddenly he's an Indian, okay? Yeah, never mind all that. But the point being, yeah, William Shatner is a Native American. The other cat was on him like, me ain't no God. Anyway, thing is, he lost his memory at you're making me laugh again. He lost his memory at this obelisk. And Spock kept saying he thought it was some type of a device, a warning system. But when they actually figured it out, this obelisk actually projected this deflector beam that pushed this huge asteroid that was way bigger than Enterprise could deflect completely away from the from the solar system. And it was put there by this race of preservers that Spock said went around the galaxy planting humanoid species. Okay, and they were responsible for a lot of the humanoid blueprint all around the galaxy. Just food for thought, but I think when dealing with some type of a system to deflect something like Apophis, we're worried about CE5 to call in these ships. Let's all do a CE type of 5 to create a psychokinetic beam to push Apophis away from us, where it doesn't go through that keyhole. And that's done through psychokinetic energy, collective consciousness. Put that Sheldrake morphogenetic field together for that and use it in that way. I think that's where we're at now, the next step for humanity. I'll shut up now. Just want to throw that out.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, don't live in fear, y'all, about any kind of hostile alien threat. There's no reason to even worry about it. The aliens are here. They walk among us already. Okay. Some of us might be aliens, actually. So Max Life is bringing up the crashed cigar-shaped, miles long UFO that has crashed in a crater on the dark side of the moon. And I have remote viewed that. Actually, Barry, you gave me the Mona Lisa EBE as a blind remote viewing target. That is on the playlist here on my YouTube channel if you'd like to go watch that. If anybody wants to see that, that was a great show. So really good data too. That was actually a practice target I was given a long time ago when I was learning remote viewing. That ship was actually one of our targets for practice. So I can't say that video is real. That video that everybody's seen with her. I don't know if that's real or not, but I know there's a ship there. So
that was an interesting one because so much surrounds that, especially that kind of separates the melanin dominant contact community from the non-melanated, I don't want to say melanin recessive, but the non-melanated contact community. There's been a lot of conflict on that based on the fact that, anyway, just it's interesting. So that I thought that was a good target, just bring that up and to see if it was straight up real or not. And another one, she threw that one out that I thought was a really good one was the alien body, the autopsy. That was a good one too. That was a good one.
Oh yeah.
Another blind target. Yeah.
All the targets you've given me are amazing. Okay. I don't think we haven't had a bad one yet. I don't think there could be a bad one because no matter
There's
what.
One you didn't like. There's one you didn't like.
Which one did I not like? Tell me. There's some that I didn't like. It doesn't mean they're not worth talking about.
The Kappa, there's the Kappa. You didn't seem to like that one.
Well, that's because I swim in a lake all the time. That's why. And I still have PTSD from that.
Don't worry about it. Just put you some Sug Knight in a bag and jump in there.
I have to wear my Sug Knight next time I go out there.
Man, if you got some Sug Knight, if you got Sug Knight, you got him with you. You're good to go to Lake Lanier, aren't you?
Oh my God. I'm gonna start wearing my Sug Knight. I already wear Sug Knight. I wear Sug Knight everywhere I go. Right
now we're gonna get roasted. They're laughing too much. I guarantee you're gonna get some complaints. No, that guy was talking and laughing.
No. We had some pushback that one time that we remote viewed Mel's hole. Okay, why would we not laugh about remote viewing Mel's hole? I'm just saying. Why would we not laugh about it? That was funny. Okay. And if we're not laughing, we're crying.
I remember now. Oh, that joke.
That was Mel's hole. Yeah. Well, it was me and Tanya, actually. Tanya and I. We couldn't stop giggling.
Was I finally innocent for a change?
Yes, it was all on us.
Mr. Innocent.
It was, yes. Scott has a question before we go. I know there's probably a million questions y'all have. Everybody's got questions. I've got questions over everything. Scott wants to know what's inside the moon. That's a loaded question. Thank you, Scott. We just added 30 more minutes to our show today. Just kidding.
Hey, I'll tell you what, Scott.
What do you think, Barry?
Something real interesting, okay? Now, look, God, I don't want to bring names up because I have butchered forever bringing up this cat's name. It's not that I believe everything this cat say, but, man, I had talked to this cat for hours just one-on-one, so I find it interesting. Okay. And I did feel Artron energy coming off this people, so he's had some sort of contact, okay, or been on board one of the crafts. That's all I can tell you. But anyway, it was, I won't even mention the name, but they had mentioned to me that they had been to the moon and that in the center of the moon is this biocomputer, this huge biocomputer that there are these actually tunnels that lead to the main processor. And that what it does is it takes records everything happening on Earth. It's like a database in that way. Now, what's fascinating, on my channel, you can go to playlist and go to the Ascetti Ranch playlist, and there's a video that I did, about an hour-long video I did with John Vivinco. And one of the things that we talked about was the moon. Him, like you, said that when he remote viewed the moon with his team, he got in trouble and he got a physical knock on his door and got told to not do it again.
Yeah.
But we talked about a little bit what he saw and what he described as what this whistleblower was saying. He even names it there. He said, man, what we saw was a lot like what that individual was saying. There are these tunnels leading to this huge processor that's some sort of a huge, it's like a supercomputer. And that takes us into, was it towed in from somewhere else? Why some of us remember there being two moons that have past life memories. You know, one of them being destroyed to try to rain on a part of Earth that might have been either Atlantis or Lemuria, and the heated fragments destroyed our firmament and messed up the planet. You know, things like that are just, you know, again, food for thought. But when it comes to the moon, that's what I've always heard was in the middle of it. Some people, so it's a huge, the computer is also a base too. It might be, I don't know, yo, but it's food for thought. And I'm sorry, Jessica, you might know something more than I do about that. So I'll shut up.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about nothing. Keep my mouth shut. I really don't know. I was actually tasked with the Apollo 11 moon landing, and that's where I got in trouble right there. Somebody didn't like that. So I'm not going to say it was the moon. I remote viewed that ship was one of my practice targets, and that is there. There is a ship there. There's a lot going on up there. I don't know. I'm cool with probing. Let's say doing some more RV on the moon sometime. I don't know. I have way overstepped my boundaries here, and there's no boundaries anymore. So I'm kind of down to do whatever. If I get a knock on the door, oh well. Okay, so but we'll see. We'll see. I have not been reprimanded in a long time.
I almost think it's too late now for them to do that. You've got so many people, although I know a lot of them aren't real remote viewers like you, but they claim it and they're still talking about it. So, I mean, it's like, I think at some point that stuff's good. Because they're not real, it doesn't matter, huh? Ain't nobody giving them a knock on the door, huh?
Nobody's getting knocked on their door. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. It's a little different. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Let's not go there on that conversation. Okay.
You know, I'll tell you what, there's so many planets in this solar system that are worthy of observation for life, especially interior life. You know, when I first had heard of David Hatteras Childress, I actually met him in Vegas when I spoke there. First book I saw of his that really caught my attention, that's back in the 90s. I got it from Borderline Sciences, I believe. And it was about the other moons, the other planets in this solar system that have ancient ruins on them, especially some of the moons. He was going into all these different moons, not just the ones we hear about a lot, like Europa and Titan, but other ones, you know, like some of the moons of Neptune and things like that. And some things that some of the satellites had caught, some of the images. It's pretty interesting. That's one of his earlier books. Extraterrestrial Archaeology, that was the name of it.
Well, okay, let's tie in all this to Mars, right? Let's give a little preview to the audience right now as to what we're going to be talking about on Thursday. Would you like to tell what the remote viewing targets are?
Sure. Well, I gave Jessica the target of not just Mars, but specifically the Cydonia region, both the interior of it, what's underneath Cydonia, and what's on the surface too. And the surface, because just I think they lied to us so much with the other overpasses they had. Oh, it's just this and that. It's not. You know, we'll go deep on that. Like for me, when I look at the quote unquote Cydonia complex, city complex, it's been called. You know, I see an Olmec head there. That helmet that thing is wearing looks very Olmec-like to me. So anyway, that's just food for thought. You know, we'll take it into various things about that. Some of the different things we've heard about Mars. I've heard a bunch of stuff about Mars. Then we've got some stuff that goes into, no offense, but it's a little more fantastical to me, in terms of the people that have been there and they're doing all this and that there, and they're doing this there and there and all these places. Okay, I don't know. It might be, but with some of the data you had, I won't disqualify anything anyone says. You know what I mean? Not after data you get. Like I said, I often get more than I bargained for on a lot of these. That's all right. That's the name of the game.
Oh yeah. Hey, I'm excited about it because you and I have not really discussed it yet. We were merely texting back and forth last night, so we haven't really gotten into discussing. You know, it's kind of fun, like me not having a clue as to what these targets are, and then let's just go in live. Let's just go live. I'll tell you the data, and you tell me what this thing is. And I think it makes for an interesting conversation, actually.
Like I said, when you gave me that data, all I had was a 4-letter response.
It started with the F, y'all.
Yep,
It was a cuss word.
Man, I got myself into this. I want to tell you, hey, can you unreview it?
Can I unview it? Look, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you review it, we're done. We're done, son. So it's yeah, you know, and then when you responded like that, I was like, oh, I bet this is secret space program stuff right here. I bet. Because it's gonna, I think it's gonna blow everybody's socks off. I don't think it's gonna be shocking to everybody, but I think it's gonna answer some questions for sure. And some of the testimony that we've heard that's come out of people with the secret space program, I think that it might line up a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. Secret government programs and all that. So yeah, I'm excited.
Or what they're using to hive mind people with. I think that's going to come up too.
Yeah.
Why not hive mind people? Why not hive mind on based on real events? That's how they would do it. That's what would make dreams into memories, and those memories into reality. And
then what do? We start manifesting through the collective consciousness, and so you start creating that. Golly, that's like history repeating itself.
It energizes these things, gives them the energy that they need for manifestation. And
dang it, Barry.
What?
Dang it.
What?
Let's just save it for Thursday because my brain is working overtime right now. We gotta wait. I know. We gotta wait. Y'all do not want to miss this on Thursday night. We're gonna go ahead and start. I'm gonna get the show together. We're gonna start advertising it and stuff for Thursday. It's only in 3 days, y'all. It's only 3 days. Okay. But we'll be back here on Thursday with that. The Cydonia, that's what it's called, the Cydonia complex on Mars. I have remote viewed it. I have 2 targets. It's very thorough, and I think you guys are going to really enjoy it. Okay. So, all right. Well, Barry, tell everybody where they can find you. What's your Patreon or YouTube, and what kind of services do you provide?
You can reach me. My email is barrylittleton13@gmail.com. Finally been getting my emails. I think it's straightened out. You can find me on YouTube, Barry Littleton, Patreon, Barry Littleton, Instagram, Barry Littleton. I do quite a bit on Facebook. I try to talk to some people. Barry Littleton on there as well. The services I offer are, I do readings, but I kind of do a little bit more right now. Hypnosis. I do several modes, which would be past life regression, trauma release, also earthbound spirit release, which is a pretty good one that people like. And also generational curse cutting as well. Actually, dissolvement. And something separate than all that I do is negative identity dissolvement to help reduce the negative self and free some of our energy. So those are some of the things I do, and it's rewarding work. And I appreciate everybody. A lot of your audience has come forward. I've done a session with several of them, and each one of them is so unique. You know what I mean? It's really cool. All of them I've done, I'm constantly blown away. I think that's what it's meant when they say we have to be as our children to get back into the kingdom. Because every time I do, I don't care how many of them I do, I'd be feeling brand new every time. You know what I mean? Yeah. That kind of wonderment that comes with it. So anyway, much appreciation to you and everybody in your audience. It's been really cool. Appreciate it. Well,
thank you. Thank you, Barry. You are so appreciated over here. And also I appreciate these wonderful targets that you give me as well. And I'm like a kid in a candy shop every time I get them, and you finally tell me what the target is eventually. It takes a while to squeeze that out of you sometimes.
Well, you know why? That way we don't have any doubts. That way everything you saw is completely uninfluenced by Barry making jokes and Barry influencing. Yes. It is what it is.
Yep. Yes. When I finally squeeze the target out of him, figure out what it is, it's really amazing. And so last night was the same. You did that reveal on Facebook for me, and that was really cool. So yeah, you guys come check us out on Thursday. I will be back on Wednesday, by the way. I'll be back on here on Wednesday on a glitch in the matrix. I promise y'all we'll have a really good show on Wednesday as well. But if you guys want to contact Barry, go to barrylittleton13@gmail.com. Send him an email and for his services. And please go subscribe if you hadn't already to Barry Littleton on YouTube and Patreon. All right. Well, I I just started getting a little sweaty, man. I can tell the heat has really ramped up in Georgia. And I don't know if I need to go crank up the AC.
Three digits today? Getting 3 digits?
What? 3 digits today, yeah, in Georgia.
Yeah, here too.
With the humidity. And so, yes, I will. Yeah, I'm getting sweaty. I can feel my shirt's a little sweaty. So I hope you guys please stay cool, everybody. Y'all try to stay cool and hydrate. Drink water today, y'all. I know it's, especially down here in the southeast, it's very hot today. So please take care. Make sure your pets are taken care of too. Bring your pets inside, please. Even if you got a bear or a horse or a wombat. Somebody said wombat today. Wombat. Take them inside, y'all. Okay, or give them some extra water, or give them a swimming pool or something. Okay, and yeah. Well, thank everybody for sticking with us. This has been a long Monday show. Of course, you can tell my son has not gone back to school yet. We got a couple more weeks until school gets back in. So the shows will be a little bit longer than normal, and they'll go back to being short in 2 weeks. Short shows on the day. Yeah. What's up, Barry?
I missed General Hospital. Only for you, Jones. I didn't record it either. Only for you, Jones. I got to know what Sonny Corinthos is doing, man.
Oh, man. You admitted it to the world. He watches soap operas. Soap operas and wrestling. Oh, my gosh. Well, thank you, Barry. I'm
General Hospital. I don't watch a lot of soap operas. Only General Hospital. And back in the day, 90210 at Melrose Place, but I didn't tell nobody. No, none of us black men told anybody we was watching this. I promise you.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! All right. Well, I'm very honored and blessed to have you here today, Barry. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for your sacrifice.
The great talk too, and I'm sorry for everybody if I went way off and was joking around, but thanks for having me here, and I appreciate everybody and you. So thank you.
Well, thank you. We appreciate you too, Barry. And all right, well, y'all, I will see you guys back here on Wednesday. Please stay safe out there. Don't live in fear. I don't think the aliens are coming to take us over. They've been here as long as we have. Okay, they walk among us today, and we may have aliens in the chat. And I don't know. We don't know who the aliens are. Maybe we are. Okay, everybody have a great day, and I will see y'all back here in a couple of days. All right, see you, Barry. Bye, y'all.